Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus. Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
Reaction to
Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
To VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
All right, got a ton to do. VSiN Live. We'll start with the hockey quickly. I'll set you up on the games, then we'll get into the program. Dustin Swedelson, Jacob Volk back in New York City, Ryan Smith, Vegas. We're going coast to coast here. VSiN Live, of course. You can find us on YouTube, VSiN Live. Give us a subscription. We appreciate that. Maple Leafs and Senators coming up in minutes here. Now, this number has flipped. Toronto was the favorite. Most shops.
Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
To $1.14, 5.5 on the total. Improbably, Ottawa down 3-1 2 nights ago, went to Toronto and blanked them 4-0. So we come back here, still Maple Leafs looking to close out the series in a couple of minutes. Up 3-2, round one in the East in Ottawa. A little bit later, just about 29 minutes, the Golden Knights at the Wild. So on the road, VGK can close it out. That number right now, VGK is right around 165-ish, so big favorite on the road. And the Stars at the Avs. The Avs are going to be big favorites here. Anywhere from $1.95 to $2. So what that means, you got to lay $2 to win $1. If you're betting on the Avalanche, and the Stars can close out the Avs on the road. So we'll keep you updated there. And then a great one, great hockey coming up tonight, people. A great one coming up tonight as the Kings at the Oilers. Oilers lead 3-2, can close out Los Angeles coming up tonight. Edmonton open $1.35, have gotten hammered up to close to $1.75 at a lot of shops. As far as the basketball, before we get the program going here, the Knicks are at the Pistons. The Knicks can close out the Pistons. We're going to have plenty to say about that coming up in a few minutes. Don't worry right now. Just checking the number. It does look like Detroit is still laying 1.5. That series is fascinating, as is the late series tonight. The Nuggets at the Clippers. The Clippers are 6-point favorites, and the Nuggets lead the series 3-2. I don't know what Clipper team the market is watching, because that was, as JVT said yesterday on the program, lethargic from the Clippers in Game 5. Game 6 coming up tonight, so we'll get you started there. As we do start, just wanted to, as the world turns, just quickly wanted to give you an update because it feels necessary on the big three. And that would be Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson, and, of course, the University of North Carolina. Because we have breaking news. As did you know that NFL Films was supposed to do a Hard Knocks on Bill Belichick and North Carolina? Well, that was supposed to go down until Bill Belichick's boo, his gal pal, Jordan Hudson, demanded to be an executive producer on the famed Football Coaches Now scrap season. She said, apparently an insider said, she said, told execs, you better treat me with respect or they're not going to get to use the coach's IP. Well, Hard Knocks and NFL Films were like, yeah, this is not a deal. Goodbye. So Belichick and Hudson and Team BH lost out on Hard Knocks. That comes on the heels of TMZ reporting that outside of that baffling moment you saw on CBS where Hudson interjected with Bill looking like a statue and somebody that just got kidnapped, when conversation turned to, how'd you two meet? We're not going to go there, says Hudson. Reporter, no. She snapped back, no. She was sassy. However, TMZ is reporting that's not all. That's what made the final cut. There were many more baffling moments that they left out. TMZ also reports that Belichick and his boo, Hudson, quote, showed up just the two of them. No PR, no publisher. I can tell you from doing a little bit of this, that's not normal. She's in control. But there's more. TMZ is reporting that University of North Carolina is, quote, not loving the Bill Belichick experience, and it's not sitting well with them. Back to TMZ. Apparently they left out that Hudson, the former cheerleader, interjected the questions about football. Now, Bill's a great football coach, and I'll just say this. Bill, and I mean this, throw up a gang sign, blink twice, give us a sign, my man. The question is, are you good? Because it appears you're not in control. Now, I would never say elder abuse. I would never levy anything against Hudson as far as kidnap. But the perception of Bill Belichick is he's a man amongst men. The perception is he's stoic. He handles his business. So these optics are certainly not great. But I've shifted. I've shifted from being upset with Bill Belichick giving men a bad name, because this may be extreme. Like, we have to start wondering if Bill's okay, because it feels out of character. And again, if you go back to the interview with CBS, I've never been in great relationships with women, but I will say this. I've never had one lurking in the corner while I'm doing this dumb show. Are you really going to go there with the Pistons? I've never had that happen. And I don't know, again, I don't know if it's normal when you get in a loving relationship where a person starts interjecting when you're the GOAT, but it does appear it would be like me getting Beyonce to take me on and giving her singing advice, or if I'm into Cougars, Meryl Streep and talking to her about acting, or if I'm lucky enough to date the basketball player Kelsey Plum and talking to her about her free throw shooting. One thing we do know, and Bill, Lombardi, somebody get a hold of Lombardi. My man, come back. VSiN could use you. Come back. Mad Dog could use you on Fridays. Are you being held hostage? Michael, we're good friends. Just text me. One thing I do know, if Jordan Hudson's trying to get clicks, it's working because everybody's talking about it. She's getting good book promotion. However, it is starting to bubble. And North Carolina thought they were getting the greatest coach of all time. Instead, they're getting bullied by a cheerleader born in 2001. North Carolina football, people. But, again, back to Bill. Just blink twice, dude. Next time you sit down to do one of those interviews, we're all going to come swooping in and save you. I'm not afraid of her. Actually, I kind of am afraid of Jordan Hudson. I'm not going to lie. That chick scares me. If you see some of the sass she's throwing out there, I don't think anybody can contain her. But I do know that Bill is going through it right now. Dustin Swedelson, we say hi as the world turns with the big three at North Carolina.
Well, we learned during the CBS interview that she is now a PR person. Since then, reports have come out via Bill Belichick's bank account. Jordan Hudson is also now a real estate mogul. And the latest development is that she would have been the TV producer of HBO's Hard Knocks. Let's remember what the catchphrase was for Bill Belichick when he was head coach of the Patriots. Do your job. Kind of ironic because she does all the jobs for him now.
Yeah, he always used that trifling statement, do your job, where everybody said that's profound, and we all said, feels basic. Now, as I said yesterday, we're going to start to question Bill. Bill is opening this up by way of disrespecting men to start looking us look under the hood a little bit. Like Dustin said, do your job. Never felt overly prophetic. Maybe Brady did his job. Maybe the one playoff win before Brady wasn't enough of a job. And now we're going to find out at North Carolina if the head coach, Jordan Hudson, along with Bill Belichick, offensive coordinator Jordan Hudson, defensive coordinator Jordan Hudson, and probably quarterback Jordan Hudson can get it done for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, look, I'm still hung up on, as more comes out about this, the fact that she snapped about the question regarding how they met, because they've gone over it for a long time. They've been well rehearsed in that they met on a plane. She had a book about philosophy. They struck up a conversation. And because of the way she treated that question, I still need more research on it. And we may have got a little bit of breadcrumbs in regards to looking into that. I don't know if you saw the update today from TMZ, but apparently she has an ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend's name is Josh Zuckerman. I don't know who he is. He's the CEO of some company. He's rich. He's a big deal somewhere. He's 64 years old. So she apparently has a type. And
she's got a proclivity. She freaky.
Well, is that she has a type, or is it that there's a lot of commas when they log into chase.com? These old men.
But just 1 second. VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code Sirius with the games coming up. I encourage you to get the picks. Back to this. Look, I am not one to judge on proclivities.
No.
Guy. I'm not going to be chasing some sort of thrill. But if Jordan Hudson is into that type of thing, which it appears she is, big guy, who am I to judge?
No, I'm not judging. I'm just saying you opened up the opportunity for us to look into this more because you just didn't roll with the story and roll with the questions and just weren't accommodating for CBSUs that were, by the way, asking puff piece questions. They were not doing hard-hitting journalism. They understood they were somewhere in between journalism and public relations for this book tour. I'm just saying I'm waiting for more developments because since that went down, slowly things are coming out. And I think we're going to find out the story of how they met is not the truth. And it's going to be a weird look for everyone involved.
Yeah, the odd part where she interjected on CBS Sunday Morning on football questions, if Bill Belichick, the GOAT, can't handle a fluff CBS Sunday Morning throwing football questions at him, I'm concerned about North Carolina football. So that I would say that. And look, if you watch the tape, if you watch the interview, he was asked the most basic questions, and he froze, and literally you can see his brain working like, I don't want to get in trouble with my girlfriend.
Yep.
I'm confused. I'm 73.
Yeah, also another element I'd add is, she was the aggressor. She was doing all the work there. We learned about her proclivity for older men. Maybe his proclivity is to watch his girlfriend do the work with another man in the room. We don't know. That was the vibe I was getting.
You never know. But I think the most important thing is, Bill, blink twice, my man. We'll take care of you. That situation, as we move on here, and we're going to get to Knicks Pistons, that situation is undoubtedly one of the weirdest storylines in the history of sports.
I mean,
and it's just the tip of the iceberg. We're
just
getting started.
I feel like we're living out the first 10 minutes of a 3-part Netflix documentary that's going to come out in 5 years. That it feels like this is the beginning of a Netflix documentary.
If they're playing us, that is going to be fascinating. Okay, on from the drama, on to the basketball. And, of course, we're going to touch on what happened last night here in Los Angeles. There's plenty you're going to hear from J.J. Redick. But we should start here with the Knicks and the Pistons. So a dramatic Game 5 win at MSG from a young Pistons team. Duran and Cade took over late. And now it's 1.5 with the Pistons, Big Guy Lane at 213. 213.5 on the total. I'll say this. I know the Knicks were uninspired in Game 5, but when they closed that gap late and the injuries to Hart and Brunson kind of kept them off the court when it mattered, I think that's when the Pistons took advantage. Now, I'm not even talking emotional hedge. I do think the Knicks are going to win tonight. I do think it's an overreaction. They are the more talented team. I was talking to Adam Shine about it earlier today, and I was just digging through the numbers, Dustin. They went 16 of 27 in Game 5 from the free throw line. As a contrast, in Game 3, they went 26 of 29. The margins are so razor thin in this series. The Knicks aren't going to miss free throws like that again. They're the better basketball team. Unfortunately, I think they get it done tonight.
Yeah, and how about from a pressure perspective for the Knicks? If this goes to 7, it goes back to the Garden, where, by the way, the Pistons have dominated the Knicks somehow on the road at Madison Square. All the pressure in the world will be on the Knicks in that spot. So for New York, you have to take care of it tonight. You cannot let it go back to 7, back to New York for Game 7, just because Detroit will be playing free and loose. They have house money. They have no pressure on them in a Game 7 scenario. Just getting to that point, it would be a successful season. For the Knicks, getting knocked out by this Pistons team that's not ready, that's still probably a year and another player away. You just can't do that if you're the Knicks with the expectations, with the additions they made in the offseason. And they're coming off a game where, in reality, Jalen Brunson not on the floor for the end of the game. That was massive. But more importantly, he wasn't right physically the entire game. He had his worst game, 3 of 16 from the field, 16 points. First game without 30 points in this series. You have to imagine in a game like this with the pressure on, this is when Brunson normally thrives. This is when he takes over. And I think the key for them, though, is Asar Thompson was awesome for Detroit. He was awesome on the defensive end. He made a bunch of big plays offensively, finished with 22 and 7. But the Knicks have to take advantage of the Detroit turnovers. That is the biggest issue for Detroit right now and why they haven't won the series. They turn the ball over way too much. The Knicks are not capitalizing enough. And I'd say offensively for New York, someone other than Brunson and Cat needs to get 20. I think Anunoby is so focused on Cade Cunningham on the defensive end, you don't know what you're going to get offensively from him. So that means Mikal Bridges, who is god-awful, and I don't trust him to hit any shots in the fourth quarter, and Josh Hart, who's banged up. One of them's got to drop 20, or else the Knicks are going back to New York for Game 7.
Well, if it does go back to New York for a Game 7, the Pistons aren't losing.
No.
I could guarantee you that. So if the Knicks don't get it done tonight, the pressure which the Knicks obviously felt in Game 5 will be compounded to a point where obviously Tibbs is going to get the boot and the Pistons will advance. That's why I believe the Knicks are going to win tonight. The better team. The series has been separated by 5 points. The Knicks lead 532 to 529. So this has been a razor thin as far as the margins series. The matchup stuff that you threw out, I don't even know. I just know this. The Knicks are more talented and they're better, and it would be a catastrophic loss because weren't they laying like plus $3 before the series started?
Yeah, and by the way, if you like the Pistons, don't bet them on the game tonight. Don't bet the money line. Bet them to win the series at plus 380, and then hedge it if there's a Game 7. That's what you do in that spot. If you think the Pistons win tonight, you bet plus 380, you hedge, and you watch a game that you cannot lose either way. Right now, the Knicks are minus 500 to win the series. So that means you have to bet $500 to win $100, whereas for Detroit, you bet 100, you get 380 back. I think that's the route to go if you like Detroit.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense to bet the Knicks laying $5 because they're dogs tonight, people.
Yeah.
Go individually. Like they're literally catching tonight. I think that number's an overreaction. I really do. And I love the way the Pistons played. I think Duran's been awesome in the series. He dominates the Knicks. You can get him double-double tonight, like a $115. He's going to do that. He dominated late. He's a kid. I'm not even going to be disappointed if the Detroit Pistons, as a guy from Michigan, I'm not going to be disappointed, Dustin, if they get bounced. This has been a tremendous year, and forcing this to 6 is plenty. I hope they win, but it's plenty for me.
What, they win 14 games a year ago with Monty Williams? Something like that?
But that's a Monty Williams thing.
I know,
Monty Williams sucks.
But 14 games 1 year, you're about to be a game away from a Game 7 to advance in the postseason. It's one of the great turnarounds we've seen in recent memory. And it's not like they went out and bought a bunch of players. It's a bunch of role guys in Cade Cunningham. Ivy's been hurt for half the year. It's one of the more impressive turnarounds we've seen in a single season.
Somebody's going to have to explain to me how the Knicks got better and got worse.
Dude.
Bridges. The Knicks got better and got worse. That is like legitimately what happened with this team.
I can't believe Mikal Bridges in the fourth quarter misses as many open looks as he does. It's baffling. This guy put up empty calories in Brooklyn, in Phoenix. He got so much credit for filling up a stat sheet and a box score where obviously no one, including myself, was actually watching him play. Because if you watched him play, he's not impressive at all. There's nothing about his game that jumps off. He's like very solid across the board. He is a number 4 or 5 option on a team. He is not special.
But Cat's been great for him.
Yeah.
Hart, obviously, like OG's back healthy. Like they've gotten better and they've gotten worse. Because remember, they didn't even have Randall last year in the postseason. Most of the time, they didn't have Anunoby, and they played better. Now, the 76ers stunk, but they played better. They played well against Indianapolis, right? Well as they could. They literally didn't have anybody. It just shows you where it's almost like we keep on talking about culture and just allowing Brunson to take over was what this team was built on. They got better, and now they could get bounced by, as you mentioned, a team that won 14 games last year. It's fascinating.
Well, and because they're so reliant on Brunson just taking over, there were stretches in this series where like they didn't include Cat in the offense, where he wasn't on the floor at all. And he's the biggest mismatch in the series. That's the problem. I love Brunson. Brunson's the dude I want taking all the shots when it matters, but you don't need to have close games like they've had. If you just get Karl Anthony Towns in the mix in the second quarter, in the third quarter, by then you can have such a big lead, it doesn't matter. You're just stretching that out at the end of the game. That is a big concern for me. I look at this series, I see Tobias Harris cannot defend Cat. Jalen Duren can down low, but if Cat pulls him outside, it takes away his greatest strength, which is rebounding. Because of that, the Knicks have to center everything around Karl Anthony Towns and let Brunson kind of fit in where he can. They're just never going to do that, though, because he has the keys to the organization.
The one problem with Karl Anthony Towns, you would like to see a big not live on the perimeter, not live on the three-point line. Like, do a little bit of work, dude. You can pull out your defender while still crashing the boards and grabbing some rebounds. You would agree. You can't just force Hart to do everything.
It does
some balls.
It does seem like he's out there a lot, and
he lives out there.
And it would help to get a few more putbacks because he's 7 feet tall. Just the opportunity to have some second chances. We saw that last night with Rudy Gobert, 9 offensive rebounds. You don't think that played a role in them winning that game?
I do. We are going to touch on that game as I don't know if you want to call it a meltdown, but a lot of questionable decisions last night by the Lakers. So just to wrap up New York and Detroit, Game 6 in Detroit. Listen, it is going to be, and we've constantly said this, as this game flips from MSG to Little Caesars in Detroit, I think it's kind of the inverse. I think the pressure for the young team is at home. I think the pressure for an underachieving team like the Knicks is at MSG. So I do think that the pressure shifts back to Detroit tonight. And New York, 1-2 in Detroit, controversially, yes, but 1-2 in Detroit. I think if they lose tonight, turn out the lights, the party's over. For example, if they lose tonight, the Knicks in Game 7, what do you think that number would be? 6.5?
Oh, I was going to say like 4.5.
Yeah, maybe split the difference, 5.5.
Yeah.
I would not feel comfortable laying any number with the Knicks in a must-win. No chance.
No, Cade Cunningham with the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter, I trust he's going to get buckets. I can't trust that Jalen Brunson's still going to have a foot below his ankle in the fourth quarter of Game 7.
We haven't really discussed this. Maybe y'all can help me out with this. I have my best friend lives in New York. He works in New York in radio, and I don't know why, but he has season tickets to the Knicks. Like, he's the biggest Nets fan. He goes, we used to drive out to Jersey in that freaking swamp and go watch Nets. It sucked, but I didn't have any other friends. So I would go with him. I swear to God. I'm not even kidding you. So we would go out there, and, he's a big deal, so maybe that's how we got his Knicks tickets. But he wrote me before this series started, and he said, bro, if this goes 7, you have to fly out for Game 7. It's Knicks Pistons, and I'm going to be with you rooting against the Knicks, and we've got a waitress, we've got everything. And I said, no doubt. Now, the problem is I'm me. And Evan, if you hear this, I want you to know it was faulty planning from the jump on my part. But maybe, Dustin, you can help me with this. To be fair, if I was going to fly – the game's on Saturday. If I'm going to fly out for Game 7 to New York City, I have to wait until, 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight to even know what the outcome is? It's Thursday. I'm 47. I'm a man.
Yeah, okay. Do you know who would love this conversation, though? Chris Russo. Chris Russo loves the logistical planning of people traveling. The only 2 times I've ever seen him in person, he wanted to know travel patterns, the planes, how long the flight took. He would love to plan out this flight for you. He's basically Priceline.com. First off, though, when it comes to you and this deal, I think it's a wonderful offer from Evan. And Evan is your best friend, so he does know you are you. And in the moment, you agreed to do something that he probably knew deep down in his heart that when push came to shove, If game 7 were to occur, you would back out of it. I think Evan understands that that's how you are. You're like, absolutely, I'm in. The reality's going to hit you. You don't want to go. I think Evan gets that part of it. The other part of it is I do believe you agreed to it because you didn't think a game 7 would happen. So now you have to root against your own team. Now you have to root against your own team in a game 6 so you don't look like a dick for saying no to this awesome offer from Evan. Thirdly, if there is a game 7, suck it up, Buttercup. You're going. I think.
Okay, but here's the thing. He just said, he just texted me not too long ago. Just saw Knicks Pistons game 7 will either be 7 or 7:30. Understand. First off, and I'll give you the whole clincher at the end. Understand that if I were to travel, you and I do this show, VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio, tomorrow night until 7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, show wraps up. Let's walk through this. I meet the dog watcher. I walk him through the process. I freak out about my dog anyway. I would be packed. I head to the airport either on a red eye or wake up early tomorrow morning. Well, what happens? You lose 3 hours when you land in New York City. Now, please explain to me logistically. I don't care about Christopher Russo. Dustin Swedelson, you tell me how anybody could logistically make that work.
Yeah, you mentioned it. It's the red eye. The red eye is the move. Now, it's a lot of work
to do a red eye. I literally wouldn't recover for like a month.
I'd also say the red eye works when you're there for multiple days. The red eye to be there for a game on Saturday, to turn around and come home on Sunday, that's a pretty wild move. But the problem is, what are you, 46, 47?
Oh, 47. Nobody can do a red eye at my age.
But you are a man, and a man is a man of his word. And your word is your bond with your friend, and you said you were going to go.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Well, also, it did get sprung on me that I'm supposed to be some part of Aaron Halterman and Mike Somich's. They're doing the Kentucky Derby show on Mad Dog Sports Radio and VSiN on Saturday, 4 to 8 Eastern, which is going to be amazing. But I was asked to be a little bit of a part of it, and I said yes. And if I don't – let's put it this way. I didn't think my bosses were asking me. I felt like they were telling me.
I would say work.
And I got negotiations coming up, and negotiations mean you can't say no to shit when it's about to go down. That is factual.
I agree with that because you're asking the wrong person there if you thought I was going to go against that. Work is always a priority. Always make sure work is good. I would say that is probably your greatest reason to not go is because you have to be ready. Look, there's breaking news of the Kentucky Derby today. A horse is out. Rodriguez is out. Baffert pulled him. So there could be breaking news at any point. And if you're on a plane, you could be ill-prepared to do your necessary work for the Kentucky Derby show. And it's a big show for everyone involved.
Well, how the hell would I get to New York and do the show anyway? Ryan, who runs our YouTube, is saying, can you take tomorrow off? No. Because I didn't ask. And we now have a policy at VSiN. You need 150 days to get a day off.
It's true. You got to ask way in advance.
Stephanie Kamershak is not somebody to trifle with.
No. In fact, I think you were the reason why she sent a reminder email about that recently to everyone to let us know. Reminder.
Whatever. I don't care. If people knew the reason I went home the last time, they can shut their effing mouth. You understand?
Yes.
That's what I would say. I'll do that with anyway. So that's the concern. So yeah, you're right. I kind of got put in a spot where I'm hoping the Knicks win, so I'm not that terrible of a friend.
It's either
be a bright future for my Pistons.
Yeah, it's either be a bad fan or be a bad friend. You're kind of in a lose-lose. So I think because of that, you got to root against the Pistons.
All right, let's do this before we go to break and come back and talk about the Lakers. I like the Knicks catching 1.5, and I like Jalen Duren a double-double minus $1.10, $1.15.
I think I'm going to join you on the Duren double-double. I was finding a way to bet him, but his rebound prop is like 12.5 or 13. It's really high, and I think he may get there. I went Karl Anthony Towns over 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I just think he's the biggest mismatch in the series for the Knicks. They have to get him involved. That number's a couple ticks down from where it has been the last couple games. And because of that, it's kind of correlated. Jalen Brunson over 7.5 assists. He's got to get other people involved. His ankle's not right. And I think the Knicks need to be able to rely on these other guys to knock down shots because of that. All the attention on Brunson. He sets the others up. He goes over 7.5 assists. He's gone over in 3 of 4.
There you go. There's the bets. And again, you can get our bets and more. VSiN over vsin.com/subscribe using the promo code SIRIUS. All right. Nothing. 7:30 to play. Toronto and Ottawa in Ottawa. Game 6 on the ice. When we come back, Minnesota, the Timberwolves, Dustin, you like this team, and they may be worthy of moving on. The one thing we didn't expect is J.J. Redick and LeBron James to want them to move on. We'll discuss when we return. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus. Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
Bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, the Stanley Cup playoffs are on Sirius XM. Coming up tonight, 9:30 East. It's a cracker. It's Game 6, Western Conference Quarters, between the Stars and the Avs. Listen to all the fast-paced action on Sirius 211, XM 220 in the car, and on the Sirius XM app. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher, Ryan Smith, of course, YouTube at VSiN Live. Jacob Volk, whatever you just sent me didn't go through. Is it important for the air?
No, it's funny.
All right, you resend it, donkey. Getting a lot of pressure that I'm a bad friend during the break. All of you, give it a try. That's all I'd say. Nothing, Toronto, Ottawa. We are yet to tip off in Detroit, but just minutes away from doing so. Also about to drop the puck in Minnesota. Minnesota's been a lot better than I expected them to be in this series as they trail 3-2. Obviously, to VGK. So that puck drops at 4:40 my time, 7:40 your time on the East. Vegas, anywhere from $1.57 to $1.66, 5.5 on the total. And then we have, obviously, Nuggets, Clippers, Dallas, Colorado on the ice, Los Angeles, Edmonton. So a lot to do there. Last night, the Lakers got closed out by the T-Wolves. And it was a 103-96 win, so Minnesota obviously covered the 6.5. And I'll just say this. We played the press conference prior to the game. And while the question was ridiculous, the question was about asking J.J. Redick, are you going to talk to your assistants about substitutions in Game 5? Redick walking off. Dustin said he seems to be a little upset, huffing and puffing. I said he's a competitor. But you said during the broadcast, because I don't listen with volume on, you said during the broadcast that Reggie Miller said something about the overall vibes of J.J. Redick.
Yeah, I saw Windhorst mention this because, we were doing the show, so I didn't have the sound on initially when I was watching the game. But apparently, according to Windhorst, Reggie Miller said he had to calm Redick down. He had to tell him to chill out because he was acting, quote, childish during their pregame meeting between the broadcasters and Redick, where I guess it would be from that press conference, still steaming about how it went down and then going and speaking to Reggie Miller. But yeah, Miller said he had to calm him down.
Okay. So if you didn't watch the game, the story of the game was Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert was Wilt Chamberlain. He had 27 points and 24 rebounds. Now, Rudy Gobert is a fine player, defensive player of the year a million times, but for Rudy Gobert to go 27 and 24, something had to happen. Well, here's what happened. J.J. Redick, and I don't know if it's like you said, that he was just red with anger and wasn't focusing. J.J. Redick refused to bring any bigs into the game to throw bodies at Gobert. And Gobert was just picking up rebounds and putbacks like he was playing against AAU teams. Jackson Hayes didn't play last night. Alex Len didn't play last night. Maxi Kleba did play, who's a bigger guy that hangs out on a three-point line, so he's not going to impact Rudy Gobert, obviously. I don't know what Redick was doing, and my assumption is Redick and Pelinka, the general manager, got together and decided on how to, deploy the lineup. But I will say this. If he, in some way, because he was pissed off, didn't play Jackson Hayes, well, that's insubordinate. Because if you can't control your emotions, like I said to you on the phone earlier, J.J. Redick has to figure out if he wants to be a basketball coach or a podcaster. Because emotion works very well as a broadcaster. It doesn't support you as a basketball coach, and a lot of that last night was on Redick.
Yeah, I mean, look, he let outside noise influence how he was going to approach that game, and as a leader, he let his team down. It's simple as that. As a leader, you have to be able to hear that criticism and not have an emotional attachment to it. You made me read a self-help book years ago, and one of the key statements in it was, if you're going to try and do anything special in life, it's going to come with criticism. So just get over the fact that people are going to have opinions about you. And J.J. Redick made a career on having opinions about other people, so he got feisty when he heard someone else have an opinion about him. So I think as a leader, and I'm not a leader. You are my leader. I am your follower in this scenario. So I'm not a leader. I don't know. I've not led anything, but I would want my leader to be above that, to go, yes, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. I don't really think you understand how things work here, but I appreciate the question and just move on. You can't let it eat at you and not put Jackson Hayes in when Rudy Gobert is going for 20-plus rebounds in a playoff game, but more importantly, scoring 27 points. Do you know how many times this season Rudy Gobert had scored 27 points in a game? Once before last night.
Regular season where nothing's on the line. Last night he had the game of his life, and Redick refused to throw a body at him. It's unconscionable. It's insubordinate. Another thing, LeBron was horrible in the game.
Horrible.
But he couldn't have been worse. LeBron couldn't have been worse, but he's 40 years old and he played 40 minutes. Like, you can't expect, at this point, he's more complimentary than he is LeBron, but he was bad in the basketball game.
But that's what makes the Jackson Hayes not seeing the floor more egregious. Because of that, your rotation is shorter. And you're asking 40-year-old LeBron to play over 40 minutes per game in the series. Luka, who we all know isn't in shape, is playing almost 42 minutes per game. And then you're asking them to do everything. So later in the game, they're not going to be fresh. They're not going to be able to do everything because, by the way, both of them had to rebound more in this series because of the lack of a 5 on the roster. You need to bring someone else in to take the burden of rebounding and the burden of getting in the way of Rudy Gobert off of their shoulders because you're relying on them to score buckets when it matters in crunch time. Let's hear from JJ real quick. This was Redick after the game talking about what went wrong in the fourth quarter for them.
We executed great in the fourth quarter. Missed shots at the rim, missed a bunch of threes, shot 12 for 52 for the series in the fourth quarter from 3. On top of that, you lose 2 games in Minnesota, minus 12 in scoring opportunities, minus 13, and then you lose by 20 tonight. Just too many turnovers, too many offensive rebounds.
I mean, you got to give him listen. Not putting a body on Gobert was stupidity. We all agree. Jackson Hayes did not play coach's decision. Alex Len did not play coach's decision. One thing I will say, Dustin, is my neighbor here, Austin Reeves, I think we coronated him too early. That guy stinks.
I think you should go knock on his door. I think he's missing still. He's
got a husky.
He wasn't at the game last. You have a husky too. His name's Dustin Swedelson. I'd also add for JJ in this situation, the issue isn't that they lost. I think that's the big picture for me. The issue isn't that the Lakers lost. The issue is how they lost. It's the stubbornness. It's not doing something different. Because I think if we're being fair from a roster perspective, Minnesota is just so much deeper. Obviously, so much better defensively than the Lakers could ever be. It's the fact that he stuck to his guns, and his guns were jammed. They weren't firing. It wasn't working, and he just kept doubling down, saying it was going to work. At some point, as the person in charge of this entire project, you've got to do something different. And by not playing Jackson Hayes a single minute while you're getting torched on the glass, that's a fireable offense.
Yeah, it was weird. They were down 10 at the break. They did take the lead in the third quarter. But like you said, Minnesota's better. Minnesota deserves to move on. It's just the way that they moved on. It does not look good for Redick. Do you have anything else from Redick? I'm curious if he said anything else.
Yeah, Jacob, let's hear from JJ Redick, number 3, that they didn't look good late.
We obviously put ourselves in a position to be in the game 3 times in the fourth quarter and just came up short every time. But, again, the offensive part of it tonight in particular was we missed wide open threes. We missed a couple shots at the rim. We got good looks.
But that's not the issue.
To be fair, they were 7 of 47 from 3.
You got out-rebounded 54-37 in an elimination game and did nothing to change it.
I know both can be true. How often do teams shoot 14% from 3?
No, but at the same time, the Timberwolves weren't good for you had Anthony Edwards go 0 for 11 from 3, and Minnesota won the game. That's not their recipe for success.
No, look, this was, but more was exposed. Like, if you're talking about the Lakers moving forward, it's not just a Redick thing. They have major roster decisions to make.
No.
And obviously Luka has to get in shape. Reeves is not what we thought he was, or maybe he's building towards that. And next year at 41, you're going to have to treat LeBron differently.
Well, I think LeBron, they need to dial it back with him. And he load managed quite a bit this year, and I think it was necessary. But I think at the same time, in a salary cap league, he's going to have to give up some money too if he wants to. If his goal is to win another championship, we need to be clear. If he's fine taking the paycheck, I have no issues with him doing that. But if he's going to come out and say he wants to win titles, with the way he has to be treated at this age, at this point in his career, he's going to have to take a little bit of a cut just so that the rest of the roster can be constructed. You can't rely on these veteran minimum players to support you if you want to win a ring. So I think that's a big thing for this team to figure out how they can find some financial flexibility. I imagine they're going to shop Austin Reeves, because if you can turn Austin Reeves into a couple different players to help you out, that would be massive, especially down the stretch for this team next year. But this is not a good roster. It never was a good roster. And Mark Williams from Charlotte wasn't going to change the outcome of last night.
Did you have more of a problem with Redick, or are the Lakers just flawed? 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. When we return, a hot start for the Knicks, and we've got a goal in Ottawa. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, the Leafs open up with a goal in Ottawa. First intermission, Maple Leafs lead 1-0 over the Sens, and VGK gets on the board first at the Wild. Vegas Golden Knights looking to close out Minnesota. 13:46 to play in period one there with VGK up 1-0. The Knicks off to a hot start against Detroit here, although a nice bucket from Schroeder. 23-15, 4:40 to play in the first. Knicks came out hot here. Does anything stand out? Dustin Swedelson, Patrick Maher, as we welcome you back. We're going to get to your calls on the Lakers. Anything stand out thus far on Knicks Pistons?
Yeah, I mean, OG Anunoby, 8 points to start this thing out. I think that's massive. It changes the whole dynamic of the offense for the Knicks, that he's just getting buckets. And I'd also add Brunson, 11 points so far in the first quarter, so clearly he's dialed in right now.
And he just hit a big three to go up 28-15. Brunson's hot. The Lakers, look, Minnesota, better team, but what Redick did was really unconscionable. Like refusing, when you've got Gobert looking like Chamberlain, refusing to throw a big body at him at all was, at the very least, weird. Let's get to the calls and say hi in Tampa Bay to Mohammed. Hey, Mohammed.
Hi, yes, this is Mohammed. Really enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the Lakers a little bit. Yeah, two quick things. One, I think there was speculation as to whether LeBron knew about the Anthony Davis trade before it took place. I think yesterday was proof that he had no knowledge about it, because he said during his press conference that once a week after Anthony Davis said we needed a big man to protect the center, a week after he said that, they got him out of here. So definitely he was not part of management getting rid of AD. That don't mean he does not like the Luka trade, but he was saying that the moment AD mentioned about it, 1 week later, he was out of town. So obviously maybe they choose not to let him know, and they just wanted to, because they recognize his relationship with AD, that it might spill out. So that's one. But the second piece, though, is this. We're talking about the coach, the mistakes that were made and everything. But quite frankly, I love LeBron, but I did not see much of him in the fourth quarter. Maybe because he was gassed from a couple of days ago and stuff like that. But I think the Lakers getting a big man to protect the center, they will come back, and I believe they will win a championship within the next year or two.
Thank you, Mohammed. Appreciate it. From what we understand, the Lakers weren't looking to move on from Davis. Pelinka was contacted by the general manager from Dallas and was gobsmacked that he was being offered Luka. That opened up the Davis conversation. So it wasn't like the Lakers were actively shopping Anthony Davis, just to be clear.
Yeah.
And you're right about LeBron. LeBron was horrible in the game last night.
Yeah, I mean, on the trade, the real thing was, Rob Pelinka was called with an offer, and he said, look, if you give me $200, I'll give you $500 back. He's okay, fine. That's the deal there. That's essentially what happened. He got a better player. He has a better team and a better chance to win a title. And on LeBron, he finally looked 40 because he was asked to do way more. Down the stretch, it was not good. There was too many minutes on his legs. He also had, issues staying healthy during the year at times. I just thought that he was asked to do too much at this point in his career. And if they're going to win another title with LeBron and Luka on the roster, they're going to have to find a way to dial things back for him so he can kind of play a bigger role in fewer minutes.
Yeah, look, he's Marvel, and nobody would disagree. He's out there in the fourth quarter. He played a bunch of games, played a bunch of minutes in the series. But what you notice from LeBron, and again, this is natural. This is called being a human being. He's 40. What you notice from LeBron is that first step to get around the defender just isn't there. So whereas he used to take it to the bucket, maybe an and one situation or go to the free throw line, now he's just settling and defend. Like Minnesota's a great defensive team, and they have great individual defenders. LeBron's not going to cheat anybody out like where he pretends to drive and steps back with the three-pointer. When somebody gets older, they start falling in love with the fall fadeaway jump shot because they think they can still get around a defender, and they go, whoops, and then they come back with the jumper, and that's what LeBron's doing right now.
Yeah, which feels kind of ironic because to me, look, he still has bursts at times. But to me, I'd want him to play more of a traditional four at this point in his career than stand out on the perimeter. Like I'd want him to bang down low and just be quicker than the other 4s and 5s he's going up against.
I think we'll see a much different roster next year. They're very smart. My guess is they will, pitch count LeBron through the regular season and see if he can be effective in the postseason. He just had to do too much this time. Let's say hi to Kirk in Washington here on VSiN Live. Hi, Kirk.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I didn't think about the point you made about, JJ basically getting into his own head and not being able to make a good decision because of it. But my thoughts were, gosh, this is the problem with having a coach that has no experience, because I just, have to think that a coach that's been doing it for years and years and years, it would be an innate feeling of, oh my God, we're getting out rebounded. Like, how do we not change this up? How do we not bring someone in? How do we not just hammer somebody, just use up all of our fouls, something to change? But he just didn't have that innate ability or that mindset. So I just think an inexperienced coach is also part of it. And, the LeBron situation, I mean, come on, he's had to do this all season long. No wonder he's gassed, which is the same old story. We've talked about it for years. So that's even going to be more of a problem. If he doesn't have a supporting cast, at least for the stretch run to even make a good playoff seed, then they'll never be, obviously he won't be able to do anything in the fourth quarter. So I don't know what people expect.
No, it's well put, Kirk. One thing I will say is, doing this so long, I think I'm jaded, because let's at least admit this. He wasn't just seeing red and didn't think at any point, I forgot I had Jackson Hayes. So like he's a very bright person. It's not like he just forgot he had bigs. I'm jaded. I believe it's an organizational decision. I don't think when you're getting killed like that by Rudy Gobert, I don't think he doesn't see it.
No, but I think he was trying to prove a point that I'm right, and I think that maybe have elongated the plan there. I also would say J.J. Redick is the last piece LeBron James did or made, the last move he made for the Lakers, where then they shifted towards the Luka future. Curious if J.J. is just tied to LeBron's future and they're just waiting that out.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? We were jocking JJ's job all season until that pregame presser and then whatever the hell that was last night. So we'll find out. Andy Bailey will know more than us. We're coming back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN is on SiriusXM Channel 158. You can get 24/7 sports betting coverage on Channel 158 and the SiriusXM app. And as an exclusive offer just for you, SiriusXM listeners, Mad Dog Sports Radio listeners, you can get full VSiN Pro access through August 1 for just $19. You get a daily email with all the best bets from hosts and guests. You get the exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. You get the Kentucky Derby betting guide, of course, that's coming up Saturday. You can win some cash with that NFL betting guide and more. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS to lock in the special offer. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. We're going to welcome in our longtime buddy, Andy Bailey. Just quickly, let me update you. We're end one in Detroit, and it was a great quarter. The Knicks just dropped 37 on the Pistons. I'm telling you, it's weird, almost the inverse. I feel like these two teams get tighter at home. In Brunson, Dustin, 15 points, 7 of 9 from the field, 4 dimes. So he's looking to carry.
Too many donks are sitting around watching
right
White
now.
Lotus.
Pistons struggling thus far from the field. And before we say hi to Andy, let me just get you updated on the hockey, just to get that out of the way. Maple Leafs early in the second, 2-0 over the Sens, so they're looking to close out that series. And VGK, 8:34 to go in Minnesota, lead 1-0. Okay, I mentioned we're going to welcome in our buddy Andy Bailey. Andy Bailey, Bleacher Report NBA writer, at Andrew D. Bailey on Twitter. And it's been a while, Andy. Nice to see you.
It has been a bit. I'm happy to be back. Thanks for having me. I always appreciate coming on this show.
No, it's great to have you. And we can get into what Dustin and I were just discussing, which is the Lakers. But let's start with what's happening in front of us. And you can talk about Jalen's flopping. However, he did have he's a hell of a player for a small guard, and he did have a great first quarter as the Knicks jump out to a big lead here to start.
Yeah, I can't deny that he's a fantastic player. And really, since he went to New York, he's clearly gone to a level that I don't think anybody expected. Certainly, the Mavericks didn't expect. And anybody flops in the NBA, I'm going to give him a little bit of a hard time. That's just kind of my shtick at this point. But he's very good. I expected New York to win this game. The experience difference in that series is pretty significant. And I'm actually a little surprised Detroit has won 2 games. But I think this will be like New York thinking, let's get serious. Let's end this now. Let's not mess around with this anymore. And that's kind of what it looked like in the first quarter to me.
Yeah, Andy, you watch the game really closely, and I know you're really good when it comes to the numbers and the analytics. And just from my eye, I think Detroit's outplayed the Knicks for about 75% of the series, where I think they've been the better team, and they don't have quite as much to show for it. What has impressed you the most about the performance of the Pistons in this series, pushing it to 6 so far?
I think you're right. I think they have probably outplayed them for a majority of the minutes. And one of the, it's funny that I am kind of known as a numbers guy. And I think one of the things that is kind of hard to measure in numbers is the experience gap in the playoffs. And I think it's one of the most real things that we see show up year after year after year in almost every series. And it really shows up when the game is tight and the game is in those high leverage possessions towards the end. And that's been the problem for Detroit. Obviously, they coughed up that lead that they had in game 1. And they've generally struggled down the stretch for much of the series. Obviously, they won 2 games, and I think that's a credit to Cade Cunningham. I think that's a credit to how physically they've played, and that's maybe a general point for the entire postseason. The physicality and the intensity level in these playoffs is like really different this year. I don't know if it feels that way to you guys, but it feels like it's just a much more intense game than it's been years past. So I think they have that edge, youth, athleticism, strength, size, physicality over New York, but just execution and the raw talent of guys like Brunson and Towns. Some of the shots that Towns hit down the stretch in the Knicks last win were just crazy. Those 2 guys particularly just extremely skilled. It's been a fun series, but I do think New York probably closes it out tonight.
Andy Bailey, Bleacher Report, joining us, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Andy lives in Wyoming, so he travels down for the Nuggets home games. He's not going to travel to Los Angeles tonight, so we will in just a bit talk about the Nuggets-Clippers Game 6 coming up. But you wrote in Bleacher Report 5 reasons Los Angeles should panic the Lakers after their loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know if Redick, I apologize, I didn't get to read your article today. I don't know if Redick was at the top of the list, but let's start with the coaching decisions last night as far as the roster.
Yeah, if it's the one that came out today, it was basically 5 people we should blame for the Lakers flaming out early, I think. And Redick is certainly on there. I feel like I give him maybe a little bit more leeway than some of the other people that I've heard and read today in the media. One, because he's a first-year head coach, and it's a hard thing, especially if you have no prior coaching experience. That doesn't let him off the hook entirely. Like, I think the Maxi Kleba decision, for one, was kind of mind-blowing. I couldn't believe my eyes and ears when he checked into the game. Not playing a big for all of that game and going with the starters for all of that second half earlier in the series, I think clearly wore the Lakers down. I was just sort of randomly looking at fourth quarter numbers. That must have been last night. And I think Luka, LeBron, Rui, and Reeves were their top 4 scorers in total points in the fourth quarter, and they all shot under 40% from the field in fourth quarters. They were just really bad, and that speaks to fatigue to me. Which is probably something that you should expect when you have a player who's often hurt, like Luka, and who may not have been in pristine shape this year, and a guy who's 40. Now, the way that I kind of soften that criticism of JJ Redick is, again, he's a first-year coach, and the other thing is these are really high-leverage playoff minutes, and I'm not sure very many other guys on the roster are cut out to be out there, including Jackson Hayes. The few minutes that he did get were kind of disastrous. So he had maybe one real hand to play. And, you get burned if you play 48 straight minutes or 24 straight minutes or whatever it was. But I can at least kind of see the logic behind it.
When you're looking at the roster construction, just going forward for the Lakers, because they're obviously the team that moves the needle the most, and now they're even more fascinating just because the assumption for a while was they have a big 3. Right, where Austin Reeves is the little part of that big 3, the smallest member. But do you think they have to break that up a little and potentially shop Reeves? And what would you identify as the options for them? What are the Lakers going to be looking to do this offseason to get over the hump?
That's a great question. And another thing that I was working on today is potential offseason targets for them. And when you look at their cap sheet for next season, it's actually really set up well for trades. They've got several guys on manageable deals that they can combine to get to enough salary to go after just about any big man. Kleba's, I think, making like 11.5. Gabe Vincent's making 11. Rui's at like 17 or 18. You start to add together 2 or 3 of those, and you combine, they have access to 2 or 3 picks that they can either send outright or send as swaps. And then if you want to get real serious and you want to go after like a really good big guy, you can throw Austin Reeves in the package, which I think you were alluding to. And I think offensively they do have a big 3 right now. And I think you could probably justify walking into 25-26 with those 3 guys, Reeves, Luka, and LeBron. But that big 3 also gives you 2 big old targets on the defensive end in Luka and Reeves. And so I think it does make sense to at least see what's out there for Reeves. One of the trade targets I thought about, and this one may not be super realistic, but if the Memphis Grizzlies are thinking, okay, it's 2 or 3 years of disappointment now, let's just blow this thing up. Let's see what we can get it for everybody. And you put Reeves and some of that other contract fodder, a couple pick swaps. Is that enough to entice the Grizzlies to give you Jaren Jackson, who would be really interesting next to Luka to me? The problem anytime you throw out a big name like that is you think, well, if the Grizzlies make him available, then some other team is going to beat the Lakers offer. But we've seen crazy things happen, and we've seen a lot of crazy things benefit the Lakers. So there's a lot of centers they could go after. To answer another part of the question, I think that's what they got to get is a center, and particularly one who can defend and one who can finish as a rim runner with Luka. So I think Triple J is a good option. I put Nick Claxton in the article. I think John Collins is an under the radar one that could be interesting. He's kind of a lower target. Jakob Pertl is interesting to me. Like, you could go up and down the list of players in the league right now, and they're interesting guys. Probably 50 upgrades over Jackson Hayes.
Andy Bailey joining us as we're talking the 2025 NBA playoffs. Bleacher Report you can read. Andy, right now the Knicks up 11, 44-33 on the Pistons, 8:45 to play in the second. Of course, we've got a game in Los Angeles coming up tonight with Denver in town, up 3-2 to take on the Clippers. Let's talk about Minnesota moving forward. Impressive, obviously, in the series. Had a tremendous year last year. Randall's starting to pop a little bit. The next opponent would either be, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, either the Warriors or the Rockets. Given one of those two, do you expect Minnesota to beat them?
Yeah, I would expect them to beat either one of those teams, honestly. Their record, I think they have 49, 48 wins, something like that. And so they fell behind that mix of teams that had 50. And I think the biggest reason is it just took a little bit of time for them to gel with Julius Randle. And as you said, he's been fantastic lately. I think once he figured out his role in Minnesota, it's been working really well. And they actually finished the season, even though they're sixth in the West, they had, under 50 wins. I'm pretty sure they had the fourth highest net rating in the league. And it's only those top tier contenders that are ahead of them. So the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Cavaliers. And that number, I think, to me, is more indicative of postseason chances than your record is. And they look really good. They look big. They look athletic. They've got so many perimeter defenders. They can throw it. Let's say it is the Warriors. It's going to be a nightmare for Stephen Curry to go against Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They're frankly kind of loaded right now. And the interesting thing about Randall is I think in a vacuum, he's a worse player than Karl Anthony Towns. But he does do some things that Towns doesn't. He's better off the dribble. He's a better creator for teammates. And I think he opens up the floor offensively in a way that Towns didn't, even though he's not near the shooter. He's not as big. He's probably not as good a rebounder. They just play a little differently now. And I actually think they might be a little bit better than they were last season. Early in the Nuggets series, and we were waiting for somebody to come out and post-game media availability or something. I just threw out the question, who do we think is the biggest threat to the Thunder in the West? And this was when it kind of looked like the Nuggets might be done. I think they were down. It might have been even just 1-1 at that time, but it did look like the Clippers had some things figured out. Everybody said the Timberwolves. And I don't think there's a great threat to the Thunder, but the Timberwolves may have some counters for them that other teams don't have.
Yeah, tell us about Chris Finch. Like, what do you see in him as a coach? Because I think it's a pretty impressive job for him to lose Karl Anthony Towns and this team then to play, a year later the way they are. And down the stretch, they kind of hit their stride where they needed to, when they needed to, reaching their potential right before the postseason. Tell us about Chris Finch as a coach. What do you like about him?
I think he's one of the more underrated coaches in the league, and I think it's cool that he's getting some shine right now. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Nikola Jokic's big breakout season, I think his real arrival as a national talking point was 2016-17. That was the only year that Chris Finch was on the Denver Nuggets staff, and he was basically their offensive coordinator that season. And he was the guy who basically, if not talked Michael Malone, it's certainly encouraged him to basically let Jokic be a point center. And so I don't know if we ever see this half-decade stretch that Jokic has had without Chris Finch and his vision as an offensive coach. And what's interesting about him in Minnesota is he's been given a roster that's, for the most part, is not as well tailored to like super high-powered offenses. He's got more defense-first guys like Jaden McDaniels. Obviously, Rudy Gobert is a defense-first guy. But I think he has still found ways to get those guys involved offensively. And I think he's been huge for Anthony Edwards' development. Talk about him helping Jokic have a playmaking boost. That has certainly happened with Anthony Edwards in the last couple of years. And I think in that Lakers series specifically, his decision-making as a playmaker was really, really good. And I think that comes from coaching. A player with his talent and his scoring ability could have very easily gotten tunnel vision on being like a high volume 30 point per game scorer at this point in his career, but he's more well-rounded. So yeah, I think kind of a rambling answer, but I think there's a lot of things that he does well. I think he's tailored both his offense and defense to the personnel that he has. I think he's developed players well. They look like they're in pretty good shape right now. And then
Andy,
hovering over all this is the Thunder, but they're doing good relative to that.
Just that team that is a wagon, right? The Oklahoma City Thunder. You were in the building for Game 5 with Denver hosting the Clippers. A little lethargic performance from the Clippers. Expectations tonight, just to give you a number, to give you concept, the Clippers are laying 6.5 and a total of 212.5. What do you think about this one tonight?
I think the Clippers are going to be a lot better. I think even though Denver is up 3-2, somehow I feel better about the Clippers' chances in this series than I did before the series started. And maybe that's just residual effects of Kawhi Leonard's huge game that he had earlier in the series. I look at those two rosters side by side and I still wonder, like, who do they have to stop both Kawhi and Harden? And Harden has been kind of MIA lately. And so maybe the answer is you just hope that he remains MIA. But I think the Clippers will be more motivated tonight. I think either or both of those guys will have bigger games. That's a real home court advantage in their new arena now. So I think that line makes sense. And it seemed like the most obvious 7-game series pick ever before the series started. It seemed like everybody did that. And I was part of that crowd. I picked Denver in 7. And I haven't really seen any reason to go away from that now.
Yeah, as someone who sees the team pretty regularly, I have a bet on them to win the title. And compared to the number you can get now, I think it's 40-1 over at DraftKings. I have like 15-1. So it's not a great number, obviously. And the biggest concern for me holding on to that ticket, Andy, is at some point it feels like they're going to run out of gas. When you're watching them, do you see a team that has enough left in the tank to make a run and play a couple more series after this?
Yeah, you must be talking about the Nuggets, right?
The Nuggets, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention that. I feel like they have looked to be on the verge of running out of gas for 2 years now. And I feel like I was putting subtle little hints to that effect in my power rankings like constantly over the course of last year. And I think it was more obvious to everybody else this year. And then obviously it has the big blow up with Michael Malone getting fired at the end of the season. The only thing that there's two things. I think it's probably, in terms of the odds, not a bad bet to make because they still have the best player in the world. And that's often a trump card. I've heard a lot this postseason about how we're in more of a which team has the weakest link era in the NBA, and that's more determinative of a series than which team has the best player. But I still think Jokic is good enough to swing a series against anybody. And then the other thing is, they have looked fatigued many times over the last 2 years. They had a game this series that kind of like what the Lakers have been doing, where all those guys played over 40 minutes. But I do think the firing of Mike Malone, they're still kind of like riding the new coach bump right now. I do think that the general tension in the arena is a lot lighter than it was when Malone was there. I think Adelman has a good relationship with all those guys. I think Shams Charania just reported like a couple hours ago that people within the team are saying that Jokic has kind of found his voice since Malone got fired. The stuff that I've heard about the tension between Malone and Booth and just sort of the cloud that cast over the entire organization is pretty bad. And so I think just removing that cloud from the situation has made them a much more dangerous team. Are they going to? I certainly wouldn't pick them to beat the Thunder in the next round. But I mean, would any of us be shocked if Jokic averaged a 30-point triple-double and they make a series out of it? I don't think we would at this point.
No, we wouldn't. And if the Clippers hold serve tonight, get gas in the car, Andy, because you're driving down to Denver on Saturday for a Game 7, and it'll be enjoyable. The Knicks, by the way, up 9, 49-40 over the Pistons. Okay, we'll say goodbye. Just quickly, do you expect Golden State to close out Houston tomorrow night?
I do. And I felt like I had this great revelatory moment as I was writing about that game that, oh my gosh, this Game 5 was exactly like 2022 when the Grizzlies blew out the Warriors in Memphis. They played whoop that trick at the end of the game. Everybody's laughing. And then Golden State goes home in Game 6 and closes it out. It felt like the exact same script replaying itself. And then I heard like 5 people make that point in podcasts and articles today. So I thought, maybe I'm not that original. But it still holds. I mean, it's crazy. I talked about experience gap earlier. The one between the Warriors and Rockets is huge. And then the Warriors have been in this exact situation. So I do think they've got the know-how, they got the shooting, they'll be at home. I think they probably do close it out.
Okay, Andy, good to catch up with you. Bleacher Report NBA writer. You can read the articles at Bleacher Report and find the links and Andy at Andrew D. Bailey on Twitter. Thanks, Andy. Good to see you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always fun.
Okay, take care, brother. There he goes, Andy Bailey. So it looks like the Pistons are making a run here. So they were down big. I'm talking like 15, and they have cut this to, is it 2 or 3? Duren with a nice assist. Yeah, they've cut it. Cunningham with a beautiful assist to Duren. So it's a 3-point game with Duren. Okay, so he hit the free throw. It was an and one. Duren does hit the free throw. He's a great young player. Great's a stretch, but he's going to turn into one. At 4:44 to play in the second. So Duren already 7 points, 2 boards. So we'll see how this one turns out. But again, the Knicks were up big to start, and we will see if they start to tire, if they start to get a little tight. Brunson's doing a lot. I'm just going to look and see how many shots he's taking.
Yeah, I did. I bet him during that segment to have 40-plus points at a plus price. I went 35 plus minus 129, 40 plus 190 on Brunson. See if he just goes crazy. I mean, what does he have right now? He's got 18 with 4 minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, he's attempted 13 shots, a three-pointer from the corner there, Detroit, and they tie it up at 49.
Wow.
Malik Beasley just hit a big 3. He's got 15 points already to start as well. So 49-49, 4 minutes to play in the second. Knicks Pistons. We'll get you caught up on the hockey, take your calls, and more. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, the Sens got a goal, so Maple Leafs lead 2-1 in Ottawa, looking to close out that series. 5:45 to play in the second. The Wild have tied it up at home. First intermission, VGK won. The Wild won as well. So we'll keep you updated on the hockey. Still have Stars Avalanche coming up later tonight. You've got Kings Oilers coming up later tonight as well. Quickly let you know that Knicks a 4-point lead with 2:08 to play in the second over the Pistons, 55-51. The Pistons looking to stave off elimination. We'll come to your calls, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. You're also going to hear from LeBron James, what he had to say after not a great game from him, not a great game from the Lakers. J.J. Redick with some weird substitutions, which literally just didn't happen. So we'll hear from LeBron in just a second. Just quickly wanted to fill you in on this. So when Giannis potentially played his last game as a Buck, something really weird happened after the game, and I'm sure most of you have seen it by now. Giannis thought there was just like a fan coming on the court and waving a Tyrese Halliburton towel at him saying, "That's what we effing do. That's what we effing do," in his face. And Giannis, who's the best kid ever, was just like, "Yeah, I don't know you, and I don't know why you're doing it." Those on VSiN Live, you can see the clip right there. And at some point, the dude that was waving the towel and Giannis, they were going forehead to forehead, and then Giannis kind of deflated the situation because he's a good kid. Well, that person was Tyrese Halliburton's father, John. Well, John, I hope he has HD, because after conversations with the Pacers front office, John Halliburton will not attend the team's home and road games for the foreseeable future. A Pacers spokesperson told ESPN it was a decision made by the team's front office, and John Halliburton was understanding and accepted the decision. Look, you can be in two camps here. You can say that John Halliburton was literally just defending his son and he learned his lesson, or you can say this is well-deserved. Which camp are you in?
I'm in the camp of we have an opportunity, if a big money brand can get behind it, one of the great crossovers of all time, where if Tyrese Halliburton's dad and Jeff Ulbricht's son could do a podcast together about sabotaging your family members' professional lives, I'd be all in to hear how they go through these things. Good God, what a week to be an annoying family member.
Well, do you believe this is apt? Do you think this is enough,
yeah.
or do you think they shouldn't have done anything?
No, I think this had to be done. I mean, it's just for the foreseeable future. It's not like forever. I think at some point he'll be allowed back at games. He definitely won't step on the court again. There will be a lot of rules and regulations. How about this, Mr. Halliburton? I know courtside's nice. We'll give you a luxury box. Just sit there, enjoy the snacks, enjoy the beverages, your own bathroom, have a great time, but stay away from the court, man.
Yeah, I would say, and to be fair, John Halliburton, he made a mistake. He apologized on social media shortly after the game, writing, quote, "I sincerely apologize to Giannis, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Pacers organization for my actions following tonight's game. This was not a good reflection on our sport or my son, and I will not make that mistake again." He's an idiot. He gave Giannis an opportunity to show how classy he is once again. So we got that from it. I'm starting to feel a little bad for the dude, but he made his bed. Now he's got to lie in it for the rest of this postseason. I'm sure he'll be fine next year.
Yeah, it was an idiotic move. And by the way, none of us would have faulted Giannis if he just knocked him out on the spot. No one would have been like, Giannis went too far. It was deserving of getting punched in the face. So let's be clear about that. I think the thing you highlighted there is that it just showcased how great of a human being Giannis is even more, which probably takes away from any, like, real anger or being totally annoyed by John Halliburton, the fact that Giannis gave us the quote that he gave us after.
Yeah, look, he deserves, it's not, I mean, it's punitive. He can't go watch his son's games. What I'm confused about with John Halliburton is he was saying that's what we effing do. And then even in his statement, he said, this is not a good reflection on our sport. I think John Halliburton might be confused.
Yeah, I need to look up his background.
That's not what you do because you didn't play, and it's not your sport because you don't play. I just hope he starts to understand, John Halliburton, that indeed his son is the point guard for the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I don't see any information as to his career playing professional sports.
If he didn't play in the NBA, he's got it twisted, is what I'm saying.
It's a weird use of we and us and all that.
I don't know why he keeps on talking about being a player when he's literally a spectator.
He's a fan.
A 1-point game in Detroit as the Pistons cut it to 57-56, $1:25 to play in the second. All right, we're going to hear from LeBron shortly here, but let's get back to your calls. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646, talking about the Lakers, what they're going to do next year, what was up with Redick last night, and more. And we say hi in Boston to Dan. Dan, welcome.
Hello, guys. I talked to you guys a couple of weeks ago about this Luka phenomenon that goes around the league. And you guys were equating the Luka trade as one of the greatest trades of all time. People calling in and everything else. And I disagree with you guys. I talked to you guys about it. And you kind of you couldn't even hear my point of view. And I was basically saying, the guy showed up at an NBA Finals last year out of shape, and he showed up this season out of shape. And when you do that, it's similar to a boxing match when you lose, and what can I do to get better? How can I improve my team? How can I be more of a leader? And all you guys are talking about J.J. Redick's decision making and not going a third-rate center. And the fact that you guys went on last week about this guy, 10 to 14 years and numerous championships for the Lakers. I mean, do you guys still see that? What you guys were saying a couple weeks ago?
No, I've turned the corner. I think Lucas stinks.
Okay. Well, all you guys said last week was
no. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he's a good basketball. I totally agree.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying he's the equivalent of a Carmelo Anthony, a Dominique Wilkins. All you guys were talking about last week was statistics, what he got last year in the finals. He was outplayed. Those statistics don't matter. He was outplayed. He was out of shape. Now you guys even admitting he was out of shape in this his prime years.
You are absolutely right about the fact that Luka has to get into shape. I'm not going to disagree with you there. We're going to parse the abilities a little bit, Dan, but one place you're right. And I believe, and this is to Dan's point. So Dan, pay attention because I'm totally agreeing with you. I believe Luka, when he got to Los Angeles, what was it, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
I think he was in better shape, and he slowly got in worse shape. Dan is right about that. Luka I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's sick. I don't know anything. I just know watching Luka at the end of Game 5 and the end of Game 4 and the end of Game 5 last night, he needs to get in shape, and he needs to be better in that regard.
Yeah, look, I don't think we said they were going to win 10, 12 championships, but there's no denying it was a great trade. That's my issue with that call right there. It was a great trade. They gave up an older player in Anthony Davis, didn't give up a ton of assets, and have their future set with a superstar. You can't say he's not a superstar. Does he have to get in better shape? Absolutely. Did he maybe rush himself back from injury? I think that happened. But he also played 41.6 minutes per game in that series. He was asked to do so much more rebounding than he had to do in Dallas because the lack of size for the Lakers. I think when they get this roster right and he gets to play his style of game, things will go better for Luka Doncic. But in reality, Luka Doncic, not in great shape, is still better than about 98% of the league.
That's fair. But what Dan is saying, if we're going to anoint him, and we are putting him in that 2, 3, I mean, you would agree. I think he's 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there is the best players on the planet. We're going to have expectations on Luka. And here's a quote from Redick. He said, I'll start with the offseason and the work that's required in the offseason to be part of a championship team. And we have a ways to go as a roster. And certainly there were some individuals that were in phenomenal shape. There's certainly others that could have been in better shape. That's where my mind goes immediately, is we have to get into championship shape. Now that obviously is a shot directly at Luka.
That's Luka. But I'm watching the Lakers. Guys, he averaged 30 points a game in the series. Like, even if Luka's in the best shape of his life, they're still not beating the Timberwolves.
Is it possible he averages 33 if he's in better shape?
They're still not winning the series.
I know you want to fight against Dan. Let Dan be right here. Dude, you got to give it up. He's right. He was in shitty shape, and that hindered him. He was laboring. He was fat.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's not true. But he had one bad game in the series when he had the flu. And going into the game, we knew he had the flu.
Doesn't change the fact that he was out of shape. Do you agree that when Luka got to L.A., he was in better shape than he was last night?
Yeah, it seems that way. I'll give you that. It does seem that way.
Then how? The flu, you lose weight, I lose weight.
Yeah, but you don't have energy. You don't have energy. You don't eat.
How did Luka gain weight? I'll just say this. And I think Luka may be one of my favorite athletes on the planet. I think last night was the fattest I've ever seen him.
No, you said it. We were doing the show, and it was one of the first games of the series. You said Luka's looking kind of thick. And I think the assumption for you and I is he moved to L.A., outdoors, good weather, healthy food everywhere. Erewhon's, come on, he can afford Erewhon. He's the only person in L.A. who can afford to go to Erewhon every day. There's an opportunity for him to get in better shape. He has not done that. But I'd also say that he's not the reason. Like, I know people want to say he didn't hit shots in the fourth quarter. If he had more help doing everything else, it's easier to do that in the fourth quarter. So much was asked of LeBron and Luka the entire series.
No, I agree with you, and I agree with Dan. Last night, Luka led the Lakers in points, rebounds, and assists. He could have been better if he was in better shape. Dude, I saw your face when Dan was talking. Your brain just immediately went to, I don't like this guy. I don't like that he's calling us back, and I don't like that he's questioning my sports knowledge. And I agree. He's wrong on Luka's ability as a player. He's 100% right on Luka being.
No, I'll give him that part.
And by the way, he sat down with that donk from Barstool and did one of those like Sunday conversations you can't be doing that. That's idiotic.
Yeah, no.
It's legitimately such a bad look.
Not the first week of the postseason.
Bro, I'm telling you, when I saw that, I didn't love Luka as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, but he doesn't know any better. He's from Slovenia.
You know what will help you and me know a lot better? $50 million.
You know what?
Somebody can whisper, hey, it's in the contract. Don't be a fat ass. Yeah, and then you don't go sit down with Barstool and you get on a treadmill. That hour and a half commute and that hour you spent sitting there with those two donks, you spend those 3 hours on a freaking treadmill.
I think you did it, though. You nailed it. That's the number. If someone would just give me $50 million, I wouldn't be fat anymore.
I never expect. Dan's first call was crazy annoying. Dan's second call, I'm all in.
No,
he's right. No, I was go ahead.
No, he's not. No, I'm annoyed at him because he hung on to it. He wanted to have his gotcha moment. He exaggerated our expectations.
But he did get us. Luka got in worse shape since the last time he called. How is that possible? And he's been playing 40 minutes a game.
And then what if Luka wins 3 championships as a Laker? I don't get to call Dan back.
But Dan gets the W now. Okay. You can flex on, and you probably will. You'll probably remember Dan in 10 years.
Oh, I will.
Flex on him then.
Dan, I'm showing up at your house the day of the Lakers parade when Luka wins title number 3.
Dan, I just want it to be known. There are 2 hosts here. The one, Patrick, he is being conciliatory. The other, Dustin, if you said the color blue is like the sky, he would have hated you anyway. He didn't like the fact that you were calling back, which is odd because our job is based on your guys' interaction with us.
Bring it, Dan. Bring it, Dan. All day.
You just got. Did you? I thought your computer was buffering. Your brain just buffered. He got stuck.
I don't agree with the premise of we're wrong because we said he's going to win multiple championships in LA when they didn't get it done when they put this team together on the fly, 2 months ago?
No, but the premise from Dan was he's a great player. He's just not a professional because he's not in shape. I truly, because you said it, he played 40 minutes a game. I don't even know how it's physiologically possible to gain weight exercising that much. He must be going crazy off the court.
Well, did you also hear the other thing? The only person I heard mention this was Steve Torrey a little bit ago. Apparently, it's not just drinking beer for Luka that he likes to partake in. Apparently, in the year of 2025, a guy who's supposed to be an elite athlete likes to rip some darts, likes to smoke cigarettes.
Wait, this is alleged, right? Or is this something
I heard Steve kind of say it in passing. He's like, the beer and the cigarettes, and I went, wait, that's the first I've heard of it.
I can't speak on whether or not that's true or false. I can say as a guy that enjoys some Zins, I would encourage him to switch to Zins. Because they're not going to have any problems with your cardiovascular.
I got to search Luka. It's a wild move in 2020. Yeah, no, he smokes hookah. That's
okay.
What he smokes.
The point I'm making is there is a sense of responsibility if you're that guy and you're getting paid that to your professionalism. And he's showing up out of shape.
Hey, man.
That's factual.
I stand with my fat brother. I believe fat people can do anything that skinny people do. # Fat Lives Matter.
All right, 888-623-3646. We'll get to your Laker calls next. By the way, the Pistons did take a 61-59 lead to the break, so this is getting dicey for your boy. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Smith, Vegas, Dustin Swedelson, and Patrick Meagher. Let's get to your calls. I want to squeeze everybody in before the top of the hour, and we'll start with Lance in Indiana here on VSiN Live. Hi, Lance.
What's up, guys? Thanks for taking my call.
Of
So
course.
I think the Lakers need to focus first internally. You got to develop Jackson Hayes this summer. He's young. He should have a good motor. You just got to work on his fundamentals a little bit. He's perfect when you put him in those high pick and rolls, and he can just roll to the basket and get the alley-oop. You know, that's what the Lakers need, in my opinion. Bring in another big man, whether that's a veteran to help, you know, Hayes learn the game a little bit. I know Brook Lopez is somebody that I think's a free agent. I don't know if that's a great fit in L.A., but, I mean, Brook Lopez can bang the three. He could play great with Luke in those pick-and-roll situations as well. I know the Lakers need some help defensively. They're in the big man position. You know, Bando, I love. I think he'll be back. You know, Finney Smith Jr., I think they'll bring him back. Him and Lucas seem to have a good relationship. But the Lakers definitely need some interior defense, and they need to bring in another big guy. I also think possibly they need to figure out that identity at the two. I don't think LeBron James is your solid two anymore. I think at any given night he can be a one or a two, but at that age, you know, you have to have him kind of conserve at his age to be that solid kind of three for you, in my opinion. Now, I don't know if Reeves is ready to fully step in and be that consistent two behind Luka. That's some big shoes to fill. I like Austin Reeves. You know, Dalton Connect. That was a steal that people kind of forget at 17. He was amazing at Tennessee. So he's got to be a young man that you develop into kind of that six-man award type guy. He should come off the bench, bang threes in that offense, spread out well. I don't know if you guys, you know, think there's any big man out there that you know of off the top of your head, like, hey, Lakers should immediately go after this guy. I think I saw, you know, Miles Turner could be available.
Yeah, let me just say this, Lance, and I just want to make sure I get to everybody, but great call. Rui was their best player last night. Luka had the stats. Rui, out of nowhere, was their best player. All of a sudden, Hachimura has become important to this team. Reeves is going to have to get better. He could still be a scorer, but he doesn't play any defense. And he's 100% right about LeBron. LeBron's going to be on a pitch count next year, and you can't rely on him at 41 to be the everything that he's expected to be.
I'll put this out there because it's not going to happen and it's not realistic. But if the Los Angeles Lakers want to get back in the business of winning championships, you can't do it because he has a no trade, but you move on from LeBron. He just hampers you.
Nobody wants him.
I know. Then secondly, if you're going to look at centers, I don't think a guy like Brook Lopez makes sense. You don't need that center to be involved in the offense. You don't even need him to touch the ball. We're talking a Steven Adams type, right? A guy like that is just going to bang down low, do all that work that LeBron doesn't want to do, like a Kayvon Looney. The problem with the NBA is I still don't understand how you sign people when you are over the cap, which I believe the Lakers will be.
Yeah, what's the problem with the Lakers and where LeBron's at is you couldn't get 29 teams to take on him at this age in that contract. So the Lakers are stuck with him. So they're going to have to try to, like you said, maybe he takes a pay cut. Let's go, Twizzy, a Laker fan. What's happening, Twiz?
Oh man, you know what? And it doesn't surprise me at all. What I thought was our advantage was going to be us on the perimeter, but after game one, how we got destroyed on the perimeter, I knew right then and there. But I just want everybody to say it out loud who really thought that the Lakers were going to make the Western Conference Championships and or maybe even the finals. Say it out loud. A rookie head coach who cut his teeth on podcasts and a 40-year-old superstar making $50 million in a salary cap league. Does that sound like a recipe for a championship?
It's not great. What do you think they need to do? What should they do, though?
Well, one, we have to get rid of LeBron. When we made this trade for Luka, remember, I called you guys and I said, now we need to get rid of LeBron. We need to have the I Am King, LeBron James retirement tour, and let him have his flowers and get rid of him. Because as long as he is taking up $50 million in a salary cap league at 40 years old, it's not going to happen. And as a Laker fan who's used to seeing windows of opportunity of championship after championship, we are nowhere near that. So I don't care if we lose in the first round or in the finals. For Laker fans, it's did we win a championship or we didn't win a championship? And we're not going to – I knew we weren't going to win one this year, but I was hoping that we were going to start exiting that guy out of the door and putting in the players that we need to get to this championship, because let's face it. And then another thing I want to say real fast is that Luka, I don't need him to change the way that he plays, but I do need completely alter, but I need him to change it a little bit. I need him to move the ball more. I need him to give more effort on defense, much more than I need him to be in shape, because if he's giving me 40 minutes with a little more effort on defense, I'm happy with everything else if he can keep the ball moving a little bit.
Yeah, Twiz, I think the problem, he can't move on defense because he's unfortunately chubby. I agree with both. I'd agree with anybody that says the Lakers should move on from LeBron. It's just, it can't happen at that number. Let's say hi. Okay, so we were just Mike and the OC. You first get to your Lakers, and then I got questions for you. Go ahead. Hurry up.
Absolutely. We got to talk about it. Twizzy kind of, he's important to this whole conversation. Patrick, it came down to JJ. Can the media please have some balls and ask him, why didn't you play Jackson Hayes when basically Rudy Gobert was just shooting layups and 7 dunks and, just being ridiculous, 27 points, 24 rebounds? It's the $1 million question. This is a complete I don't know what it is. Malpractice in coaching? Was that ridiculous or what? I was screwing the TV all game. Put Hayes in the game. This is ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. He cost us.
How do you fix your Lakers?
LeBron's not going anywhere, right? Because he had a no trade. He's got a stake. We know that. We may have to make it. Austin may be out. Honestly, he could be gone if they want to get some sort of really decent big man. Someone's going to have to go. They got to bring in somebody here. You got to get some big. You got to get a few more pieces. Rudy was great last night, by the way. He was great. Finney Smith was not good. He was not worth the money, really. He didn't do a good job. So they got to trade some pieces, move some pieces around. But very disappointing. One of the worst playoff series I've ever seen coached by the Lakers. All right. Simple as that. JJ was so terrible.
You got a long list over there.
Anything I've seen, it was horrible.
Yeah.
All right, what else is up? What else is
May 31st, what's going on with the get-together in Hermosa Beach, California? Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Twizzy said he's interested, so the great Twizzy could be there. You could be there, of course. Dustin, he's out. He's doing San Diego because he can't tell the girlfriend we're staying in town. Whatever. Beetle, Decker, hopefully. Probably new.
Wait, no. You're saying Beetle and Decker. Did they say they're coming?
They haven't committed to it, but they're both going to be in town. Kind of like back and forth.
LeBron's in town too, Mike. Is he coming?
Who?
LeBron.
Beetle? LeBron? Wait, who did he say?
He said LeBron James lives in L.A. too. So.
Hold on. How do Beetle and Decker both have homes on both coasts? What do they pay?
Dude, I don't know. I don't even care, to be honest with you. Just tell me who's coming to this party.
Patrick.
Bro, you think I care about those two? Literally, it would be impossible for me to, no offense to them, but who gives a shit? Just tell me who's coming to the party.
I'll be there. Artine will be there, I believe. Twizzy will be there. Maybe get Babs out here.
Okay, I'm out.
Dude, it's 3 people. The party is 3 people.
I'm out. I'm not going.
You would be the 4th person at the party is what I heard. You'd be the 4th member at the party.
By the way, love Michelle and Cody. But I can't have him just all of a sudden asking why they have houses on both coasts. Like, I know he's got ADD, but I can't. I asked a question. I'm not against them, but just to listen, if he's trying to hoodwink me and tell me that he's got a legitimate meetup and I show up and it's him, I'm going to be so bitter.
Yeah, this feels like the move I tried to do in middle school, inviting a girl over, saying I was throwing a party when my parents were out of town. There was no party.
Well, Jacob wants to go to the meetup. I mean, if I show...
Oh, my God, if it's you, Mike, and Jacob?
If I show up to Hennessy's, which is a great joint on the pier right here in Hermosa Beach, and it's me, Jacob Volk, and Mike and the OC, you got to be effing kidding me. There are going to be questions about what I'm doing with my life.
You better hope those two save some chicks for you. Good God.
Oh, Jacob, if I read... Well, I won't even go. Not that I don't love the two of them. It's just I hope I can come up with something better on a Saturday.
I would hope so for you, too.
VSiN Live. Aaron Halterman next.
Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Oh, Brunson just hit a big three going to a timeout. 74-67, the Knicks lead. 8 minutes to go in the third. This is going to be a nail-biter for your boy.
There's a lot on the line.
There's a lot on the line, and I'm starting to feel not great. Newsletter. Make sure you check it out. You want Halterman, you want Samich, you want Swedelson, you want the squad. They're often in the newsletter. You get picks, even Brent Musburger, and it's written by Bill A.D. It's completely free. It's your day's betting menu. Go to vsin.com/newsletter. Enter your email address. Tomorrow morning, bam, it's going to be right there. You're going to find out what's on tap in the betting world. Now, I mentioned part of the family, Mr. Halterman, is here. Aaron Halterman, we'll talk about the Blues coming up in just a second, but let's get the business out of the way. So those that remember Aaron for many, many years on this show, way back to when we were having Breeders' Cup broadcasts, Kentucky Derby broadcasts, Halterman and Jared Welch were always a part of it. RacingDudes.com. Now, he is RacingDudes.com and a VSiN handicapper. And he, along with Mike Samich, are hosting VSiN at the Track, the road to the Kentucky Derby, this Friday, the last one leading into the Kentucky Derby, 2:15 East, 11:15 West. You have to view it live on YouTube. They got a great chat going on there. VSiN live on YouTube, 2:15 East. Then that replays 8 a.m. proper on Saturday. Then the big news, Halterman and Samich Saturday on VSiN and Mad Dog Sports Radio from 4 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, a special Kentucky Derby program with Game 7s, hopefully, in the mix as well. I apologize for talking for so long, boys, but did I cover everything?
It's a lot. It's a lot we got to do these next couple of days, guys. Yeah, listen, the Game 7s just add a little bit of an element to it. The 4 hockey games and, of course, the basketball game going on tonight. If it falls a certain way, then we got Game 7s going on as well. So it's going to be big. Yeah, Samich, he's going to be there carrying the load for us as well. So, man, what an exciting next couple of days we've got. From the horse racing standpoint, it's like, Monday through Thursday is just work. And then finally, when we get to Oaks and Derby Day, you can kind of enjoy it a little bit because like the heavy lifting's kind of done. So that's nice. You're getting me at a good day today.
Yeah, Aaron, like you and Mike bet on horse racing every day. It's how you make your living. So I'm curious if you can explain it to our audience. Why is this week? Why is the Derby different? Like, how is this like not the normal operation for you in that world?
Sure. Yeah. So day in and day out horse racing, it's a niche audience, right? Like we've got our little group of horse racing people and, which is great and that's fine. And every other day of the year, it's kind of just those people and, we get some, we lose some naturally like that. Derby is a completely different animal. Everybody and their brother know about the Derby. My neighbors who never talk to me at all about horse racing, they're talking to me about the Derby. They're asking me who the pick is, stuff like that. So, and as horse racing people, we absolutely have to take advantage of the fact that we have, way more eyes on us. And so we say yes to everything this week because you just have to. You have to get it out there. You have to get in front of the people that are going to be new to the game this weekend. And then, like I said, with VSiN, it's like you guys aren't calling when it's Bluegrass Day and saying, hey, let's do a live show, right? Like this is the big one. And so you got to be available and you got to do that stuff. So it's a totally different animal. You're handicapping and you don't really feel a ton of pressure day in and day out until you get to the Derby and you got a ton more people with eyes on you.
Well, I think it was Dustin the other day that compared it because I said I get into the Stanley Cup playoffs and I don't pay a ton of attention outside of looking at the standings and betting during the regular season to hockey, watching it. And Dustin said, well, that's like the NCAA tournament. Nobody's watching regular season college hoops for the most part, and then they get completely into the NCAA tournament. So that's the Triple Crown, specifically if you have somebody that wins the first 2 legs for horse racing. Maybe ignore the rest of the year. But come Kentucky Derby time, people are dialed in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Like what will happen, naturally what will happen, we'll get a winner obviously on Saturday. And maybe it'll be like a Rich Strike when you and I were there, where it's like, well, okay, we're not going to watch the next 2 races because who cares? This horse isn't going to do it. Or maybe we'll get a star. Maybe we'll get a Justify. Maybe we'll get American Pharoah, a California Chrome, and that'll captivate people. And people go, well, we'll tune in and let's see if he can get leg 2 and then leg 3. And so, 1 weekend turns into 3 weekends in a 5-week stretch. And so from horse racing standpoint of at least somebody that owns a business in horse racing, that's why we kind of are rooting for the stars, because that does kind of get the common people that don't watch it day in and day out very interested. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly, this is the intensified period of time, and you want a nice winner here to get people interested in the next 2 legs.
Okay, so of the field, how many of these horses do you believe legitimately could win this race and go on that type of run?
Yeah, good question. It's probably only one, I would say, and that is the number 8 Journalism. I do think if it's going to happen this year, it's got to be from this horse. He comes into this race looking awfully good. He's bred impeccably well for a horse that can, get the distance and make the progression that he's going to have to make. He's got a pretty good trainer in Michael McCarthy. He's not a household name, but he's a very good trainer as well. So Journalism kind of shows the signs. I think he would definitely be up there. I think our boy Bill Mott with Sovereignty, the 18 horse, is another one that, if that horse gets hot, maybe he can do it, but he is very pace dependent. And what that means is he comes from the clouds. Like, he's going to drop very far back. It's hard for me to see him stringing together 3 wins with that kind of running style. So really, I think it's only Journalism that has like that legit shot. I'm not calling that. I'm not going to say that's going to happen. I think
don't do that.
Yeah, well, and listen, if it was Pharoah, if it was Justify, I would come here and call it, but I don't feel that strongly about Journalism like I did those 2, but I do feel like he has a chance to do it.
No, I don't want you. We're not going to give out any of your picks today, because I want people to tune in on Friday on the VSiN YouTube page, and then of course here on Mad Dog Sports Radio and VSiN 4 to 8 on Saturday. Aaron and Samich are going to give their plays. They're also going to help you. We talked about this a little bit. I think they're going to. A lot of people get intimidated by the verbiage and just horse racing betting with parimutuel betting just in general. So the boys are going to teach you how to build a ticket, what a trifecta box, all that means. So so let me ask you this as a Broadway. There was a horse that I was texting you guys about today, Rodriguez, who is a Bob Baffert horse, the 4-hole speed. And I said, I'm going to take a shot. He got scratched 10 minutes pretty much after I said that. And then there is a horse, Baeza, that has entered the party. Tell us about Baeza.
Yeah, Baeza is a horse that
too many dogs are sitting around watching White Lotus.
His race was actually last time out in the Santa Anita Derby. He got second, only beaten 3/4 of a length by Journalism, the horse I just bragged about. So this Baeza getting in is a serious addition to the race. A lot of times he's also eligible in races, not every time, but a lot of times they're not quite like, hey, they're primetime contenders, right? But this Baeza definitely is. And
too many dogs are sitting around watching White Lotus.
He still has some trouble because he automatically draws in and he has to leave from the 20 hole. So that is a little bit detrimental to him, but he's got a lot of talent. He's getting better each race. He is making big jumps and big improvements. And get this is the biggest thing with Baeza. He gets Flavian Pratt to ride, who is the best jockey in the country. If not the best, he's one of the top 2 or 3. Here's the thing. Flavian Pratt committed to ride Baeza 3 weeks ago when Baeza was like 25 on the list. So what that tells you is he really likes this horse. He really wanted to be on this horse if he was going to be entered. So I think Pratt being on makes a big, big difference and kind of just tells you this is a serious horse. So him being in is great because he definitely is a contender.
Okay, you mentioned he's going to start in the 20th position. Traditionally, where are the horses we're going to be looking to bet on in this type of race? What starting positions do we like?
Well, you want a middle post. I always say anything 5 through 12, you feel pretty good about. A lot of times, though, it is kind of dependent on what kind of style the horse has, right? So if you're a horse that's got speed, as long as you kind of draw towards, let's even say like 5 to 15, you're okay. You're going to be fine. You don't want the inside post. Now, they have a new starting gate that kind of helps. Before, they had an older starting gate where there were 14, and then they had an auxiliary gate, so it was a space, and then it was 15 through 20. And those first couple of posts were lined up right against the rail, and it was just a nightmare. The new kind of gate helps a little bit, but you still don't want to be inside of all those horses. You want the middle post positions between 5 and 12. Those are the sweet spots. And oddly enough, the one post position that has never won is number 17. Now, 16's won, 18's won, like all the the posts around them have won, but 17 has never won. So we'll see if that curse can be broke. But 5 through 12 is the perfect spot.
Maybe we probably repeat ourselves every year, but let's talk about the uniqueness of the Kentucky Derby. So somebody watching on Saturday, when 20 horses line up in the starting gate, maybe you can explain that's not normal. The distance these horses as 3-year-olds going, how far they're going to run is not normal. Let's just talk about the uniqueness of the race itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what makes this race so challenging and also so rewarding when you get it right. So 20 horses in a horse race in the United States, that only happens once a year, and it happens right here. Not only that, usually it's 12 horses is the maximum. Sometimes you can have 14 in a race. So you're talking about, adding at least, 6 to 8 horses there. The other big factor of it is like a lot of times there's even less than that. Like you could get 8 or 9. So you're doubling the field size basically. Like for example, the favorite Journalism raced against 4 other horses last time out. Sovereignty, the second choice, raced against 9 other horses last time out. So it's all a brand new world for these horses. And that's why post positions really matter in this race, where in some of the other ones, they matter, but not to a huge degree. Here it really matters. And then the other thing, and this is a very important thing too, they're running 1.25 miles. None of these horses has run 1.25 miles before. There's a couple that have run 1 3/16, but most of them 1.125 miles is the longest they've ever run. So it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole new element. And I'll even add in a third thing. Some of these horses have run at Churchill Downs, but not the vast majority of them. They're stabled in other places around the country. And so that's another factor that kind of comes in. New track, new distance, 20 horses, and then, of course, all the people there as well. So that's this. A lot of times the best horse does not win the Kentucky Derby, and it's because of these factors that I just kind of laid out.
And with that, you'll find people like me who don't pay attention to the sport, Aaron, who want long shots, right?
Yeah.
I want long shots. I want something fun, a big number to sweat out. But before we get into the possible options there, you don't have to give me an exact number, just a rough estimate off the top of your head. How often do you expect a big, upset, a long shot to end up winning this race?
It feels like we either get the favorite and we get the horse we kind of thought, or we do get that crazy price. I would say in this race, I don't want to say 50% of the time you get kind of a longer price, but I think it's like 30 to 40% of the time that long price will come in and win. And if they don't win, they get in the second and the third spots and blow up the exactas and tries. So, I mean, this is a race where you can get inflated prices on everybody. Even the favorite sometimes goes off much higher priced than what they really should. So yeah, you can get a long shot to come into the Derby more often than any other race. That is definitely for sure.
Well, you mentioned Justify. That's important because the last time the morning line favorite won the Kentucky Derby was 2018 and Justify. So that would be what, boys? 7 years that the favorite hasn't won. So to Dustin's point, this is wide open. Well, weather, it looks like we could have rain. That sucks.
Yeah.
I will say this. In any sport, I want it to be even for everybody. My Justify year, I was obsessed with the horse. Aaron knows that. It rained pretty much the whole Triple Crown, and he performed majestically. However, I like a Kentucky Derby Saturday where it's just nice. Looks like we could have occasional showers, a few storms, cloudy, and 70 degrees. Are you hearing anything differently?
Yeah, I think for tomorrow for the Kentucky Oaks, I think we're going to be okay. I don't think we're getting a lot of rain. Saturday, the forecast doesn't look good. 90% chance of showers. What I'm seeing, and it is a very that's very stressful for handicappers. I tell you that for sure, because there is a lot of unknown. These horses are young. Some of these horses have only had 4 or 5 starts. They may have not ever been in the slop. So it does kind of make for a weird situation. I really hope if we do get rain, it's not like the Justify year where it's just a monsoon and it's just a mess. So that doesn't make for much fun at all. I will say a horse like Journalism, the favorite, I think he'll be okay in the mud. He's sired by Curlin, my favorite horse of all time, who was great in the mud. He's out of a dam that was great in the mud. So yeah, he's never raced on it, but he does have the pedigree that says he'll be okay on it. But listen, it truly is kind of a guess if that happens at that point, who's going to take to the track and who's not. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but we've seen it a lot. It likes to rain on the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, and that feels like it plays into what I prefer, which is the long shots, because it becomes anyone's race, anyone's ball game, right? I guess the thing that representing the casual who just hops in for these Triple Crown races, Aaron, when it comes to building a ticket, when it comes to finding ways to bet on it, what are like your 2 or 3 favorite ways to attack betting a race?
Yeah, so this race is very unique compared to just, hey, we're betting the third race at Santa Anita on a Friday. That's different than this. So what I try to do in the Kentucky Derby, if I love a horse, I'll bet the horse just easy to win. So that and that'll be a Journalism bet for sure. Just win on him. But the way that you could do it to really kind of make money, and what I love to do is basically key one horse and say, okay, if this one horse runs first or second or third in the trifecta, then I'm gonna be okay. And then I play like 4 or 5 other horses in the first and second spot, and then the second and third spot. And it's just like, okay, if the number 8 Journalism, let's say, wins or comes in second, okay, I've got him covered in both those spots, and then I just kind of need these longer prices to come in and finish second and third around him, and then I'm going to get a giant payday. So that's one way to kind of juice it up. I love playing the trifecta there, and like I said, this year Journalism would be the key horse that, okay, he's got to hit the board, and now let's just try to get these, a couple of 20-to-1 shots. And then maybe if you can get one more shorter price, that's okay as well. And try to do it that way, because the Derby trifecta pays way more because there's so much money in the pool and it's spread out so far with 20 horses.
I think I texted the boys earlier, Dustin. I was like, here's my trifecta. We're going to be rich. And then they clowned me. And I was like, I don't think I've literally ever hit a cold trifecta, meaning I've hit a box trifecta. Let me just quickly explain the difference. There's 20 horses in a race. You're picking win, place, show in that order. If you can do that with 20 horses, literally predicting the exact order, God bless you. Now, a box trifecta would be you pick 3 horses, and those horses can finish first, second, third, any order. It just has to be those 3.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember what the term
before. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it is hard, Aaron. It's hard. A superfecta. I was talking to that donk Steve Cohen earlier, and he goes, "Oh, I've hit a bunch of superfectas. You've hit 4 cold horses many times in a row. I'm sorry, unless you're Halterman and Welch and Samich, where you're betting literally every single day, tracks in Indiana. That's hard to effing do. Everybody F themselves."
For sure. Yeah, it is super hard. I always tell people horse racing is the hardest sport, and I'm really dumb for getting into it first before anything else, because, guys, it really is tough. We were doing a show today on Racing Dudes, and some guy said, somebody asked a question. He said, I'm a really good handicapper, and I'm a really bad bettor. And I said, well, what do you bet? And he's like, I bet trifectas and superfectas. I said, I've got great news for you. We all are bad at hitting those consistently because they're hard to hit. It's hard enough to pick the winner, okay? And then if you're going to hit an exacta, which is hitting the first place and the second place, that adds that much more variance. Then you go 3 horses. It's like, it's tough. And it's not, a lot of people it's almost like a 3-horse parlay or a 3-game parlay, if I could speak right.
No
I'm like, no, actually it isn't, because the combinations and the variables are infinite in racing. Where in sports, it's 2 teams, you're picking one to win, you're doing it 3 times.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not that it's hard, but it's not that complicated. That's the difference.
Yeah,
Right.
could you maybe explain?
Right.
Can you maybe explain one intimidating thing when it comes to allocating the money to bet? Because The one thing that surprised me when I started placing tickets, when I'd follow your guys' advice is, when you bet on a baseball game, you bet on a player prop in the NBA, you're betting like a unit size. But when you bet these trifectas and superfectas and all that, the odds are so great. You can just bet a couple dollars with a big payout on the other side. Can you maybe give us like a beginner's course to approaching the money and how to approach that?
Yeah, that is the best thing about horse racing, and we talk about the positive side of it is what you just said. Like you can make let's say you want to have 4 horses in a trifecta box, right? And what Patrick just mentioned it. You play 4 horses. If those 4 horses, any 3 of them come in any combination, first, second, or third, you cash that bet, right? So if you played that, you're basically you're playing 24 combinations, right? But you can play it for a 50-cent base. So the ticket will cost you $12 to play. That thing might pay $300 if you've got a couple of prices in there and it comes in. So you're right. You don't have to bet a lot in horse racing to come home a big win. I remember, and the years blend together. I think it was 2016 or 17. Jared Welch and I, my business partner Patrick, talked about. We played a trifecta for $1. We did play it for $1, and we had about 50 combinations. It was for the Kentucky Derby, so it was like $50 bet, and it came home with $4,000. And it wasn't anything crazy illogical. It was just like, here's a horse we like. Let's key him, put him on top. He has to win. He came through for us, and then it was like, let's just try to get this 20-1 horse that makes a little bit of sense in there. And we got lucky and we hit it. So that is kind of the beauty of racing. It's hard, but when you hit, if you bet it like what we're talking about, it only takes one and you've had a tremendous day.
It could be so frustrating.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like, maybe it was Breeders' Cup Day, whatever. I was texting with Samich and we were building a pick 6. So just quickly for people that don't understand that, you're picking 6 races in a row, but you can add as many horses as you want to each race. It just costs you more money the more horses you add to each race. So let's say, for example, you got to win all 6 races in a row, but you can have multiple horses in each race. I think the ticket we had built for the pick 6 was like $150. Sounds like a lot of money. We came down to the 6th race with 4 horses live, and all 4 were paying like $4,000 or more, yeah. And they missed. And I only lost $150, but potentially the odds were that I was going to win more than $4,000. I remember texting Simon, just like, your guy's sport sucks.
Because you know what it is?
Because it's so exciting through the first 5 legs of the pick 5, and then when you're waiting the 25 minutes and you have 4 horses live and it doesn't hit, it's so deflating.
It's
deflating.
It's the most sick and twisted parlay I've ever heard in my life, because I don't even know how you get out of it. I don't know how you find a way to optimize.
But you're right, and you can hedge a little bit. But Aaron, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how you and Welch do it, where there's so many hard beats that you have to just like stay positive, because there's so many times you're on the verge of thousands of dollars for a small investment.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what you're laying out is the hardest part, and that is to not lose your mind. And that takes experience, honestly. I mean, because it is so maddening. And I think the one you're talking about, was that the Sierra Leone race where they beat you out of that? Like,
I think it was.
Okay, and so just to explain to the public what happened, Samich and Patrick had 4 horses. I'm pretty sure you had 4. I remember this. I think we were talking when it happened, but you may have been on a show with us or something. But anyway, what happened was they left off this horse named Sierra Leone, who ended up winning, unfortunately for you guys. And like, he had been beaten by these horses several times. And it's like, all year, everybody was chasing Sierra Leone and he could never win. And then he wins there and kills everybody. That's
exactly the race.
Tough to take. And if you're following that a day in and day out, it makes you want to throw up sometimes, but you just got to move on. You just do.
You guys, I'm impressed by you. And tomorrow is Kentucky Oaks. A little quiz for the big guy, because the big guy knows a little bit more about horse racing than he leads on. Kentucky Derby Saturday. Tomorrow is Friday. It's called Kentucky Oaks. What's that mean?
You're asking me or Aaron?
You.
Kentucky Oaks? Is that where they display everyone? They show off all the horses for everyone?
I think you'll know as soon as I say it. The girls run tomorrow.
Oh, the
A
Phillies.
Friday designated for the girls, and then Saturday girls can run in the Kentucky Derby, but it's designated obviously for the boys. But tomorrow's the girls, and you can get all your information at racingdudes.com. Do you enjoy just as much handicapping tomorrow's Kentucky Oaks as Kentucky Derby Saturday?
I do. Yeah, I definitely do. And the great thing about both cards, there's great races other than the main events, So like a horse named Fierceness, who I think might be the horse of the year this year. He's coming back tomorrow. Torpedo Anna, the horse that was the horse of the year last year, she's running tomorrow. And so, yeah, I mean, it's great. So I enjoy both days immensely. And oddly enough, the Derby sometimes can be the most like unenjoyable because there is that.
It's like the Super Bowl.
Yes, and there's that huge pressure of trying to get it right, So, but anyway, no, it's going to be great tomorrow. Hopefully the weather holds off and we have a beautiful day. Because, like I said, it's not, yes, to the people that are coming into the sport and watching it this weekend, it's just about that big race. But for all of us, actually day-to-day race trackers, it's a huge like celebration of racing the next 2 days with every race.
Yeah, so it's the WNBA playing before the NBA. That's what we got going on.
Something like that.
These horses are great. And so are the WNBA players. I think it was Dustin that said it, not me, but Samich, Meagher was a few years back.
We need an update. We need a 2.0. We need a Meagher's grandchildren are ready to run the Derby at this point.
And by the way, one of Meagher's brothers is running in the Kentucky Derby. Samich, we're going to hang on our hat on that one. Okay. Let's get to other sports. By the way, racingdudes.com. I always say this for the novice handicapper. That's where I learned many years ago. Or if you're an advanced horse player, go to racingdudes.com. All the information's there. The Avs tonight starting. Is that one just about to puck drop?
I think so, yeah.
Goal and a half? Lay a goal and a half plus 125 at home.
Yeah, I think this has felt like a 7-game series from the start. I have been disappointed with the Avalanche. I don't think they've played all that well, but I think at home, just like they did in Game 4, I think they come out. I think they're all over them. I do not mind laying a goal and a half when the Avalanche are at home. And look, I think they forced a Game 7. I think they're the more desperate team tonight. We'll kind of just see the price if we get to that 7th game, what we're going to do with that. But for tonight, I'm all over Colorado. I think they get it done. I think they push it to a Game 7.
How about the game going on right now? It looks like the Maple Leafs are going to hold on, Aaron. A little bit under 2 minutes to go, beating the Senators. I mean, that team's been snake bitten so many times. Do you believe in the Maple Leafs with the way things have gone so far?
If they can hold on and get this one, it is a nice step. They did, have a chance to close the series twice and didn't do it, and that was not great, and it caused some panic. This would be a good win. This would be a good step for them. Here's the problem with Toronto, and it's been the problem for a while, since January, February, when you kind of saw the standings. The Panthers are back. The Panthers are healthy. They dominated Tampa, and now that's who Toronto has to beat. That's going to be tough, not just for Toronto. That'd be tough for anybody right now. So there's where their problem's going to be. But I think this is a big win for them tonight. I think they really proved that, hey, maybe they're kind of over the we're going to choke hump at least.
It appears the demise of the Panthers was overstated by this guy because that performance yesterday in Tampa was freaking awesome. Aaron Halterman was at the Blues game over the weekend.
Great seats, by the way.
Great seats, tremendous. Hey, horse racing, that's what it does. They let us down last night, but you do believe coming back home, St. Louis laying a short price, down 3-2 in the series. You'd like the Blues tomorrow.
I do. Yeah, I do. It's been a home series. And what I mean by that is the last change has really been important in this series. The matchups have really been important. When the Blues get the matchups they want, they've had success. They were very good. I bet them in games 3 and 4 at home. I'm going to bet them again in game 6. The problem is, guys, the Blues they look terrible in game 5 at Winnipeg. They really didn't look good for a lot of game 1, or at least the third period of game 1 and game 2. I can't support them to win the series because I just haven't seen it at Winnipeg. But when they come home, they've done a great job. And I think they get it done tomorrow night. Scheifele for Winnipeg is out. The Blues pretty much knocked him out of the game last night. It didn't help, but still, I do think it'll help game 6. So, yeah, give me the Blues. I think they'll force a game 7.
Okay, you said that's a home series. Kings-Oilers has been a road series. Kings stole 2 on the road. Oilers came back 1 on the road. Now the Oilers can close things out tonight. They're minus 175. Kings are plus 145. Does LA have any chance to extend this thing tonight?
I don't think so. I really don't. I didn't play it. I didn't want to play the Kings, even though the price I think is right. If you believe in them, I just don't. But I didn't want to lay goal and half the Oilers either. Here's the deal, guys. I really don't think the Oilers are that good this year, but the Kings have just blown. They've got the Kings number. They've knocked them out of the playoffs so many times in a row now, and the Kings looked home free and then just fell apart. So I can't support the Kings. No, I think the Oilers get it done, but I couldn't make a bet make sense in that one.
No, I agree. I was so disappointed in Los Angeles in Game 5. That's what I will say. One of the more disappointing performances. Okay, Aaron, I know it's been a busy day. We'll let you go. RacingDudes.com. Now, again, Friday, VSiN at the track, Road to Kentucky Derby, only on the YouTube page, VSiN Live, 2:15 East, 11:15 West, replayed the next morning, 8 a.m. Eastern on VSiN. Then Saturday, VSiN and Mad Dog Sports Radio, a simulcast with Aaron Halterman and Mike Somich, 4 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm looking forward to it. Heather Halterman's looking forward to it. Are you excited about the big Friday, Saturday you got coming up in broadcast?
I could not be more excited, and I'm very thankful to be doing it. And yes, I'm very pumped. It's a huge deal. I will not sleep. I'll be so excited Saturday. So I will guarantee you no sleep Friday night for me.
You guys are going to kill it. Congratulations. And by the way, Toronto did get an empty netter. Dustin's right. They are going to advance over Ottawa. Yep. Aaron, thank you. Enjoy the hockey and the basketball tonight, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you. 11-point lead for the Knicks. Brunson is taken. Oh, thank you to Aaron Halton.
Dude.
Brunson's been awesome.
Out of his mind. He's out of his mind.
You know, it's funny because we had he's got 30, and it's still the third.
Yeah,
look, we were having the conversation, and it was who's the best player on the floor. And you remember I said, I'm obsessed with Cade. I'm sorry. This Brunson is an all-timer.
So I'm trying to find a corollary to other sports, or it could even be the NBA, where, look, Brunson's great. I love him. He's the best Knick of my lifetime for sure. He's an all-timer, but he's even better in crunch time. Like, that's the difference. With 2 minutes, that's what makes Thibodeau not calling the timeout the other night so egregious, is that you're taking a guy out who's pretty much better than everyone in the league in those final 2 minutes. I'm trying to find a player in the league where, look, they're great during the game, but they're on a Hall of Fame level when it's time to snap a neck and put your foot on the throat.
Well, it's just he built different, right? I think that's the way, like, some people mentally, many are just as skilled. You could add up, I don't know, 50 guys in the league that might be more skilled than Brunson.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't mean they have more mental and, when it matters, physical game. It's just not the case.
And by the way, the game seems very simple. He backs you in, he pushes you so that he can go to his left in the basket, and you can't defend the shot. But no one can figure it out. He always finds a way to play the angles. He hits so many big threes when it matters. And I bet in game, I went, what did I do? 40-plus points at plus 190, 35-plus points minus 129. I think both are going to get home here.
Oh, if he gets this, no, that's a putback, though, by Hart. He's going to end up with 30 in the fourth. In a must-win, you're getting 10 points from Brunson in the fourth.
That's what I'm saying.
I can assure you of that.
And I need 2 more assists to go over his assist prop. I mean, it's in a closeout game, an opportunity to send Detroit home. It's stupid that we didn't just bomb everything on every Brunson prop tonight.
When we come back, can we explain why I'm feeling a little less stressed with this game? And also, we'll hear, I swear to God, it started to get bad. And also, we'll hear from LeBron after the Lakers disaster last night. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
You know, I was just asking the big guy right before we came back, like, what's Cat doing? And he said, not a lot. All I was looking at is rebounds, and he does have 11. Because if you're going to get 23 from Bridges, 19 from Anunoby, and 30 from Brunson through 3, all you need Cat to do is crash the glass. You know? That's when you can be a good team.
Well, and by doing that, you're taking away what Jalen Duren does best. He only has 4 boards. I mean, when's the last time Jalen Duren played 30 minutes in a game and only had 4 rebounds? I'm going to go dig on that one because that's crazy.
That says to me, that's Cat being like, I know I have to step up because Duren took over late in game 5. One thing I will say is Hart just sat beginning of the 4th with 5 fouls.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah. No, that's huge.
Because he's such a the thing about Josh Hart, because he can guard from 2 to 4, and he's really more of a shooting guard, you're getting he's going to get rebounds that position doesn't bring to the table. So by him being off the floor, it's an issue. And I'll eat my words on this one. Credit to Mikal Bridges. Start of the 4th quarter, and he's got 23 points. He stinks, don't get me wrong. This series would be over if he just hit a few shots, but stepping up in this spot is massive for a guy who has been a complete failure since becoming a Knick.
Your point is, like, Hart left the court, and immediately a missed 3 from Detroit, offensive rebound by Harris, and a putback and a bucket. So Hart's going to sit for a while. It's an 11-point game. Knicks lead 98-87. There's 10:56 to play in the 4th. There's a ton of time. Brunson is going to sit for a few to start the 4th here. So Brunson 32 minutes already. Anunoby and Tobias Harris or Duren.
Tim Hardaway Jr. with a shove. Duren got involved. Yeah, a lot going on here. It was a foul, though. On Detroit.
It's been, to be fair to these two teams, it's been a series where they're both
too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
Some bad blood. You like to see it. We talked about how great it can be and competitive in hockey. Campaign, he just missed a bucket, but before that he got a bucket.
Yeah.
How has Campaign beat my team in this series?
He stinks. If you're a playoff team and you're relying on Campaign to get shots, you're in trouble. And there's another board for Pat.
When you sign Campaign, you're kind of doing shtick.
No, you're going end of the game, blowouts either way. Just run him out there and he'll do something.
Cat. Oh, my gosh. If you're Karl Anthony Towns, now it wasn't a great entry pass, but you had Cade Cunningham on you in the paint, and you just got the ball slapped away. I don't know.
You know what, though? I want to point this out. Cade Cunningham's had an issue with turnovers. He only has 2 today. So he's cut back on that, and it's still a 10-point game.
He's 0 for 7 from behind me. Look at the Cat shot that he just took. You're behind me.
Yeah, it's a
so
stupid fadeaway.
He's such
but that's the issue.
He's a goofball.
No, that is the issue with Cat, is that there are moments where you're like, is this guy a potential top? If everything goes right, could he be a top 5 player at some point in his career?
No.
And then he shoots shots like that, and you go, yeah, never mind. That was idiotic. Sometimes I think he thinks he's like 6'3".
I think he's just a goofball. He's very talented, but he's a goofball. All right, we welcome you back. It is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. Let's get you caught up. The Maple Leafs did close as dogs, and they pick up the W and a W on the series in Ottawa, a 4-2 winner. They showed something because, remember, they just got shut out 2 nights ago at home 4-0. So a nice little bounce back from a team that has been cursed, as we've discussed ad nauseum. The Golden Knights at the Wild, you got 15:52 to go in the 3rd, and VGK up 2-1. It's dicey, but they can advance tonight with a win in Minneapolis.
Hasn't Aiden Hill been horrible for VGK? And you can get almost 4-1 on Minnesota at home, or plus 1.5 minus 130.
Yeah, I mean,
plus 1.5 minus 130 seems kind of crazy in game.
Ooh, that's an and 1 for Anunoby. Look, what the Knicks are trying to do right now is hold their breath and steal minutes without Brunson. That's it. You just want to stay above water.
You're still a Pistons. You're still a Pistons fan, though, because the tone of your voice indicates you're excited.
No, listen. I do feel awful. I literally a friend I haven't seen in years. he kind of wrote me before the series even started. Bro, I've got Knicks, and that's just how he talks. I've got Knicks tickets, Game 7, you have to come. I said, you know what? Going through some stuff. I could use a break. I'm coming. He said, you serious? I said, yep. Then I started doing the math, and I had to go back to Michigan, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I have to wait in Game 6, and Game 6 is on a Thursday, Game 7 is on a Saturday. I got my dog. I'm getting confused. And then I was asked to do Kentucky Derby stuff. But then I was still thinking, like, okay, maybe I can do the Derby stuff from the studios in New York City or whatever. And I just left it with him like, I guess I'll see if they win tonight. His dad is my accountant. I love his dad. I've known his dad forever. His dad never texts me ever except you owe this much to the Federal. His dad at halftime wrote, "Go Pistons, all caps, exclamation." Because said friend told his dad, we're finally going to get to hang out after many, many years, and his dad's fired up. When I got the text from Pops, I did feel horrible.
Look, at this point in the friendship, you guys have been through a lot together. You accept each other even when you let each other down. Whereas if you weren't going to come, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm bummed not to see you." He'd be fine. But to let the parent down, I do understand. It's on a different level. It's on a different level.
Brunson just missed a 3, but he did get his own board and drove and got the bucket. You're going to see it. Brunson rules.
Dude, he's awesome.
So hear me out, because I do know I sound fraudulent as a Pistons fan. I'm 47. I moved away permanently from Michigan at 25. Not that I still don't care about the Pistons. I care more about friendship at this point. The Pistons will be back next year. I'd be okay with it. That's all I'm saying, because I don't want to feel guilt, and I'll feel way less guilty tonight if the Knicks has pulled this off.
Yeah, I mean, you could just do this and be like, "Hey, bro, I'm not making it. Let's map out an actual date for me to come visit." Maybe I know this is wild for you. Maybe you actually plan something in advance.
Woof. Cade, who I love, is going to spoil me because he just got a bucket coming back the other way. Brunson misses an easy one. I'm going to sweat the last 8 minutes of this game like you'll never imagine.
It's a 7-point game, by the way.
This is a freaking guilt sweat. I don't know if that's been brought up. I don't know if that's in the betting parlance. You could take that and shove it, gambling Twitter. I got a guilt sweat going.
By the way, Malik Beasley's got 20 off the bench. Where has this been? 6 of 13 from 3.
I don't know. He needs to chill.
Take him out.
I know that. He's got to chill. Duran trying to handle the ball is helpful for me at this point.
Yeah.
Schroeder, Duran, that's just an easy ball. Dunk. People, I'm going crazy. 103-96, 7:40 to play. It is officially a 7-point game. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be good tonight if this happens. I'm going to feel horrible.
Guilt
is not going to be good.
No, guilt is a weird thing, man. Guilt, I don't know. As I get older, it eats at me differently. I don't like it. When I did the thing I did a week ago where I let my girlfriend down on the show, we won't bring up exactly what I said. The guilt I felt about upsetting her was the worst thing ever. Like, you and I, we have a great relationship. Every now and then, I do piss you off. And I don't even get mad when you get mad at me. I get mad that I did something to piss you off, and the guilt from that is worse. Like, at this point in our relationship, you don't even get mad at me about stuff because you know I torture myself. So in this scenario,
you just beat yourself up.
But this is the first I've seen of you where you do. It feels like you will beat yourself up if you don't go.
My hands are sweaty.
Yeah,
like Eminem. Palms are sweaty. Mom's spaghetti. Do something. What? I've never been a bigger Knicks fan in my life.
You need Jalen Brunson to take freaking over in the final 7:40.
Yeah, but he just threw up a donkey ass.
He did. Hey,
you know what? Tired legs for 7 minutes. I'm getting nervous.
It's also the first game he hasn't gone to the locker room to get his ankle looked at. Maybe he needs to go back there and get that injection he's been getting.
I got a serious question for your Knicks. Do you care about friendship? It doesn't seem like the last 2 minutes you do. So
no.
You have a 7-point lead, 7 minutes to go. You lose it, I'm going to lose it tonight. That's the bottom line. All right. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Come back, sweat out the friendship, the guilt bet, and we'll close tabs. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Oh my
Here's
God.
Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
You've got to be kidding me. Brunson just missed a bucket, offensive rebound, missed three. Pistons down 5. Cade, three-pointer. Hardaway Jr., it's money. It's a 2-point game. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to lose my effing mind.
Hey, look, what's Tom Thibodeau known for doing? Running players into the ground even after they're exhausted. You think Tom Thibodeau cares that a 47-year-old's going to be exhausted getting on a
Turnover, Knicks.
Oh, my
Turnover,
God.
Knicks.
What are they doing?
Transition bucket. It's good. It's a tie game. So 2 minutes ago, it was 11-point game. My friendship is on the line, and the Knicks just pissed away an 11-point lead. You can't make it up. I got to figure something out. Oh, man. Look, this is going to be a very uncomfortable text exchange because I'm not making a phone call.
Priceline.com. Let's see. By the way, if the Knicks lose this game, you should fire Tom Thibodeau before Game 7.
Fire him now. Bring somebody in that can finish out the last 6 minutes.
This is ridiculous. You're the better team, closing it out. Brunson's on fire, and you're going to blow this in the final 7 minutes of the game?
This is not good. I was feeling good with an 11-point lead.
Yeah.
not even early. 8 minutes to go, but essentially 8.5 to go in the fourth.
No.
Anyway, I'm getting better. I should let you know this would be a good opportunity to be professional. That's what I'll do. I'll be professional. I'll let you know that, again, playoffs are all over the place. Kentucky Derby coming up. VSiN is on SiriusXM Channel 158. Get 24/7 sports betting coverage on Channel 158. And the SiriusXM app. You can also check out the SiriusXM Watch app. We've got an exclusive offer. SiriusXM listeners, you can get full VSiN Pro access for just $19 through August 1st. Go ahead.
Also, the Kentucky Derby Guide is out, vsin.com/derby for all of the articles, everything there. And the Kentucky Derby Guide looks phenomenal. I am going to dive into that tomorrow.
Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
And it's all there for $19 through August 1st, plus exclusive betting splits, a daily email with all the best bets. It's simple, people. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. Use the promo code Sirius. All right. I'm done.
Look, we can get you on an Air Alaska flight at 10:21 tomorrow. You'll be at Newark at 6:30. That's one option.
Wait, 10:20. Give me PM, AM. What are you talking
PM tomorrow night after the show. You sleep on the plane. You wake up 6:30 in the morning, full day in New York.
No, I can't. No, if this person expects me to take a red eye, he was never my friend.
You can't make it if you leave Saturday. You can't do it.
You're telling me I get done with the show tomorrow at 7. I fly on Alaskan Airlines tomorrow at 10 p.m. I land at 6 a.m.
in New Jersey.
I just live in New Jersey. And then I'm just living life. Like I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm supposed to just go do things.
Yeah, look, or you could take an American Airlines at 10:59 p.m. You get to JFK at 7:26 a.m. That's an option for you.
I'm sure it won't be depressing walking out of the Newark airport at 6:30 a.m. as tired as I've ever been in my life, trying to figure out the rest of my day. Getting in a hotel, taking a hotel to a hotel, getting into a cab, going downtown to a hotel I haven't booked yet. What are we talking about here?
I'd say you wouldn't just be questioning and figuring out the rest of your day. You'd be figuring out the rest of your life in that moment as well. Because as someone who's taken many a red eye, what I would tell you is in the moment booking it, even in this spot, it's always better feeling than when you actually go through with the red eye and you legitimately feel like you're dying.
I'm kind of depressed.
It's the only way you'll make it, though. You have to be on a red eye.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I don't even know. You couldn't pay me.
Too many donks are sitting around watching White Lotus.
What's that cost? What's the Alaskan Airlines cost?
So the United one was like $600. The Alaskan Airlines is $585 round trip.
Round trip?
Yeah.
That's actually I can't really. That's not bad.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have first class. If I was you, I'd get first class so you could sleep, get a bed.
Yeah, now my friend should be paying for this.
I agree.
Secondly, like I said, even if he's paying for it, I'm not effing taking a red eye. All right?
Well, the Knicks can solve this for you.
They're not going to solve S. They stink. Ryan, thank you. Big guy, good job. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.